Alright, good shit. Alright. Welcome back to Umineko. Rondo of the Witch and Reasoning. As always, I'll just audio if I need to once we get into it. So I've had at least multiple of people telling me this next section should be good. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm honestly, the anticipation, is it too much for me? Possibly. Ding dong. Bing bong. Am I really about to enter page 2? That must mean I've streamed this. This is the 9th stream, it must be. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened last. Before I get squarely into this. Wait, can I... let me see. Just, I'm gonna refresh my brain here a bit. Okay, everyone was lost. Or, not everyone was lost. That doesn't make much sense, does it? But, like, people are missing. People are missing. There's a select group of people missing. Obviously, my brain assumes the worst. Then there was the weird, like, garage, shed thing going on. That... I don't think I took it as seriously as it was supposed to be as taken seriously, but it's fine. It mostly just made me laugh just because I was expecting, like, I think at the time I said, like, a dead body, like, pinned to the shutter or something. And then it was just, like, some graffiti. Which, I mean, maybe I was calling it a little early. Strange dark red substance. Okay, so this is reading back when... Because I remember I saved right when we left that scene. So this was happening, like, back then. Where Genji was like... I need to adjust my mic here. One sec. Oh, hope it doesn't make a terrible noise. That's better. Genji was like... Oh, I noticed that red substance. That's probably blood. On Natsuhi's door. That was a weird thing. There was some weirdness with Natsuhi. In general. Potentially strengthening my case that maybe it's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Maybe she is Beatrice. If that's right, and I called it from downtown, then I deserve some credit. Let's remove the scribble. Yeah. Fair. And then I think it's scene changed. So here we go. I gotta get into reading mode. Which is different than all my other modes. I'm hoping I can go... I don't want to say, like, super long, but... If I go for, like, maybe around 3 hours here. Depending on how my attention span holds up. Thanks to a kids program they came across, Maria was feeling much better. Battler and Jessica were poking fun at the kids' show at every turn, cackling together. George was enjoying the program with Maria from her perspective. Oh yeah, and I forgot about who Nanjo was for a second last stream. That was cool. No respect for Nanjo. Nanjo sat on a sofa by himself, passing the time by reading quietly. They heard hurried footsteps coming from the hallway. They were the footsteps of a single person. Did that mean it wasn't the group of 4 that had just left? It was Genji. It was very rare for Genji, who considered being out of breath a violation of a servant's virtues, to be gasping for air. He had probably come dashing back from outside the mansion. His shoulders were soaking wet. He didn't have his usual trim appearance. When Genji noticed Nanjo looking at him, he gave a small, silent bow and quickly approached him.
Nanjo-sensei, 申し訳ございません.
Dr. Nanjo, my apologies.
至急お越しください.
Please, come with me, quickly. What?
何事ですかな?
What is the matter? As Genji whispered something into Nanjo's ear, Nanjo went pale. I have like a piece of food in my mouth, I'm sorry. Horrible. He rose from the sofa, trying not to be noticed by the children who were still engrossed by the TV. And the two of them rapidly left the parlor, muffling their footsteps. Just as they were about to exit the parlor, they came across Natsuhi, who was pushing a serving cart loaded with a tea set. Genji whispered something into Natsuhi's ear, and Natsuhi went pale too in apparent shock. Then, leaving the serving cart where it was, the three of them dashed towards the entrance. George noticed them running down the rose garden through the window. What's that?
Genji-san to Nanjo-sensei to...
Isn't that Genji-san and Dr. Nanjo and...
あれは夏日おばさんかな?
And that's Aunt Natsuhi, isn't it?
どうしたんだよ、兄貴?
What's up, Aniki? Aniki?
何かあったのかな?
Maybe something happened.
ひどい慌てようだったね.
They looked terribly flustered. When Jessica and Maria saw that Ava, Hideyoshi, and Nanjo were no longer in their seats, and that their serving car had been abandoned in the entrance to the parlor, they also, I read that weird, entrance to the parlor, they also realized that something was the matter.
何か事故でもあったとか?
Could there have been some kind of accident?
行ってみようぜ.
Let's go check it out.
俺たちだけのけ者なんて面白くねえしな.
It's no fun if we're the only ones left out, right? The trademarked, patented, Badler laugh. For some reason, what Badler said sounded extremely indiscreet. But they couldn't deny that they were a little insecure and concerned. Sorry, I was lowering that. Concerned after seeing the adults run off into the rain without regards to their appearance.
行ってみようぜ.
Let's check it out, okay?
何があったか気になるぜ.
I'm worried something might have happened. Jessica's uneasy words spoke for all of them.
おい、マリア.
Hey.
お前も来るか?
Oh. Hey, Maria, are you coming too?
それともテレビを見てるか?
Or will you watch TV? Ooh.
マリアはテレビがいい.
Wanna watch TV? Ooh.
僕たちだけで行こう.
Let's go on without her.
マリアちゃん、すぐ戻るからね.
Maria-chan, we'll be back soon.
テレビを見て待ってるんだよ.
You keep watching TV, okay? Ooh. By the time the kids made it outside, the adults were no longer in sight. But Jessica seemed to have a pretty good idea where they'd gone, judging by the direction they'd been running. Following Jessica, we ran through the rain-soaked rose garden. Oh my god, where are they running to? The wind seemed to suddenly get stronger. It's the anticipation is just building right now. The wind seemed to suddenly get stronger. The malicious sound of thunder began to ring out like it had the previous night. It felt like an eerie something had surrounded the island and was trying to stop us from moving forward.
Jessica, この先には何があるんだ?
Jessica, is there something over this way?
確か園芸道具なんかの倉庫があったはずだぜ.
I'm pretty sure there's a storehouse for gardening tools or something.
そんなところに一体何があるんだろうね.
What in the world could be going on in a place like that? Just as Jessica had said, they began to see a storehouse in front of them. They could also see the adults there. The shutter to the storehouse was open, and several adults looked as though they were searching for something. For some reason, only Natsui was outside the storehouse. Without even holding an umbrella, she looked like she was hanging her head, and her back was facing them. There was Genji, Nanjo, and Natsui, who had just left the mansion. The ones who left earlier, Kanan, Ava, and Hideyoshi, were also there, making for a small crowd of people. But there was absolutely no bustle of activity. When Natsui realized that the children were approaching, a terrible expression rose to her face, and she ran at them with her arms spread wide. Oh my god. You mustn't come any closer! Go back to the mansion! But despite that, no. Because of that, the kids saw the scene Natsui was trying to keep them away from. Inside the storehouse, with its shutter wide open, a faint fluorescent light shone down. And right there was... Oh, what a scream. What a scream, Jessica. I'm not even going to try to do it. What is this tune? Oh shit, we got some drum it. Or whatever's happening, I'm enjoying this. I don't want to ruin the music. It's like music as if you just saw like the portal to hell opening. Jessica's piercing shriek rang out. That was just because Jessica's scream was the loudest. Oh man, oh, it got another layer. The same thing spilled out of Badler and George's mouth as well. Ava spread her arms just like Natsuhi, roaring at the kids with a bone-chilling expression on her face. Holy shit, this music is going so hard right now. I think I said this in an earlier part, but like, oh my god. When the music does do like something that's not just the repetitive things that we hear on loop during like the other sections, it really ends up standing out a lot more. Oh my god, this is so good. Okay, George, I gotta keep going. George, take everyone and return to the mansion. Quickly. This almost sounds like a Castlevania thing. It's got like that. Quickly, right now! When Natsui spread her arms, I thought she was trying to prevent us from advancing any further. But that wasn't why Ava was spreading her arms right now. She was trying to stop us kids from seeing that terrible scene. It was her mother's heart, trying to protect the eyes and hearts of us children by blocking our views of the terrible scene by at least the width of one of her arms. Is this some kind of joke? Oh, shit. Is this some kind of joke? Is it... I'd seen this kind of cheap scene all too often. In manga, TV, anime, and movies. I'd seen it over and over again. This was just seeing something appear in real life that I'd seen plenty of times before in some of those getting all tongue-tied. Plenty of times before in some of those more sensational movies, right? That alone shouldn't... But that suit... It's that old bastards, isn't it? I get it. Then that's Uncle Kraus. And Kairi-san and Aunt Rosa. Ugh! Wait, all three of them? Kairi, Rosa, Kraus. And his... And his dad? Wait, do we get like a thing where... Like, oh, I wanted like an X over their face or something? Okay, so that would be... Okay. So it's... So it would be him. Is it all the... No, Eva's still alive. So it's them three and then Kairi. Ah, if Kairi's dead. I liked Kairi. Dad! Dad! You mustn't, Jessica. You mustn't go in. You mustn't look. Dad! Dad! Man, what a scream.
ほぼ全身に認められる。
Rigor mortis has set in across almost the entire body.
多分
Most likely,
死後6時間以上は経過したんだろう。
6 hours or more have passed since death.
損壊部位の状況を見る限り死後に破壊された可能性が高い。
As far as I can tell by looking at the damaged area, there's a high probability that they were damaged after their deaths.
いや、めったなことは言えん。
No, I must watch what I say.
私は町医者だ。検視は専門外だ。
I'm a general practitioner. Examining corpses is outside my area of expertise.
ちゅうことはなんや。
So what does that mean?
殺しただけじゃ飽き足らず、さらにこんな無体なことをしたん言うんか。
Just killing them wasn't enough? So they went on to do something like this?
悪魔や。悪魔の所業や。
Am I actually gonna get like a scene of their bodies? Cause I kinda do. The devil. This here's the work of the devil. Aunt Natsui caught Jessica in her arms and Aunt Eva caught George Aniki. So I was the only one who could approach the entrance to the storehouse. Ah. If only there had been someone there to catch me too. I wouldn't have needed to have this horrible evil scene burned into my eyes. No, that's not it. It isn't that there's no one here to catch me. The people who should catch me, they're right there, aren't they? Just as Jessica said, it did look like a storehouse for gardening tools. A lawnmower with extra blades, a grass sickle and a hammer, some carpentry tools such as a saw, piled up potted plants and bags of fertilizer. And treated just the same, the corpses of several people had been laid to rest there. No, had been tossed in there. I could tell them by their clothes. That old bastard and Kairi-san, Uncle Kraus and Aunt Rosa. Beyond that, Goda-san and... Wait, Goda? Goda's dead too? It's fine, everyone hated Goda, right? I kid. Are there still more of them? How many people died? You're fucking kidding me. I can't even count them on one hand. Damn it! I didn't know whether it had been one of these gardening tools, which if used for something other than their intended purpose could definitely be wielded with a naked brutality, or whether some horrible tool had been brought in here specifically for this. Anyway, each one of the bodies jammed in here had been given an atrocious makeup. It wasn't makeup, it was more like their faces had been plowed. Jesus. Their faces were smashed, forced into expressions that normal people couldn't make even after death. I couldn't tell where the eyes or the noses were, but I could find their mouths, because they were gaping wide, their gums exposed. But their front teeth were missing. Even the cheeks that should have covered all this were all torn up and laid bare. That trendy makeup you always spent so much time on, even though you're a man, isn't doing a thing now. He gave him a shot. After his death, he still had a shot for his dad. Scream. Dad! I always thought you were going to hell. But still, not like this, right? You weren't such a son of a bitch that you should have to suffer so brutally. And Kairi-san. Didn't I tell you to stop going out with this guy? There's absolutely no reason for you to end up like this too. They've got no faces. No faces. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. Ah! That's my best. Battler-san, you mustn't look anymore.
こんな姿をお父さんもお母さんもあんたに見せたいわけがない。
There's no way your mother and father would want you to see them like this.
お父さんとお母さんのためにもこれ以上見てはいかん。
For your mother and your father's sakes, you mustn't look anymore.
死者ってのは安らかに眠る顔ってやつを拝ませてくれるんじゃねえのかよ。
Dead people are supposed to have faces that look like they're sleeping peacefully, right?
顔がねえんだよ。俺の親父とキリエさんの顔がねえんだよ。
They've got no faces. My dad and Kairi-san have no faces. There's a small part of me that wishes I could see like this apparently very gruesome scene. But also I know if it was like done really well, it would be it'd probably be pretty brutal.
どういう顔して死んじまったのか。それすらもわかんねえんだよ。
I don't even know what kind of faces they were wearing when they died.
なんだよ俺は。
What's wrong with me?
親父たちのことを思い出すときはこのくちゃくちゃの化け物みたいな顔をいつも思い出させたのかよ。
The manga shows the graphic. Oh. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Will I have to see these smashed monster-like faces every time I remember them?
そいつ最高だぜ。
That's just great.
クソ親父のニヤニヤとした顔を思い出さなくていいんだからよ。最高だぜ最高だぜ。
I didn't want to remember that old bastard's smug face anyway. Just great. Just great.
でもよ。
But why even
キリエ
Kai...
さんの顔くらい見
Shit.
たろ。
But why even Kairi-san's face?
キリエさんの悪党じゃね
Kairi-san wasn't a crook.
え。たまにはムカつくと思ったけどよ。
Sure. She ticked me off a bit now and then.
ちょいとかっこいい。俺の姉気分だったお人じゃねえかよ。
But she was like a cool big sister to me.
こりゃねえよ。
This is wrong.
こんなのってねえよ。
This is all wrong!
黒掃除さんなんかまだマシじゃねえ
At least Uncle Kraus has it better, doesn't he?
か。顔面じゃなくて側面だぜ。
It's not his whole face, just the side.
少なくとも顔半分は残ってるじゃねえかよ。
At least he's got half his face left, right?
まだマシだぜまだマシだぜ。
Battler is absolutely losing it. That's still better, that's still better! No. Jessica filled her ears with the sound of her own screaming, trying to shut out my reckless words.
よすんだバタラ君。
Stop it, Battler-kun.
もうよすんだ。もうよすんだ。
Just stop it, just stop it.
兄貴兄貴。
Anarchy! Anarchy! Og. Disregarding age and appearance, I fell to my knees, clinging to Niki's waist and sobbing. It was as if I was crying on behalf of everyone there. Representing the feelings of everyone there, I screamed over and over. Jeez. Well, that was exciting. Man, we lost a large swath. Oh! It's exactly like I said. Not exactly like I said. I was expecting X's. I wanted to keep track. So it was the 4. Dude, Goda barely got a mention. And I get, because we're playing mostly from the perspective of Battler. He's like, oh shit. Like, oh, these actual people I'm actually related to, like, are dead. And, like, sure, go to passing, whatever, fuck it, you know, kind of thing. Oh, let me see these. His corpse, okay, Kraus. His corpse was found inside the Rose Garden storehouse. The direct cause of death is unknown, but it seems the side of his head was smashed after his death. This is the beginning of everything. That's very threatening. Also, love that the detailing is just on the side of his face, so it matches, I assume, the actual damages that were there. You know, that's pretty good. His face just completely gone. His corpse was found inside the Rose Garden storehouse. His face seems to have been smashed after death. He has a right to lament his ill fortune. I mean, what's going to end up being probably a thread that's pursued at some point is that, if we'll recall, Battler's dad, Rudolph here, pulled Kyrie and Battler aside and gave us that thing where he was like, hey, someone's going to try to kill me. Now, is that exactly, was he detailing what was going to happen here? Did he knew this was going to happen? Is it something else he just had, like, paranoia about? But just keep that in the back of your head. I'm keeping it in the back of my head. A pretty obvious thread to store back there. Kyrie. I also like how they're in grayscale now. I think my eyes are so fucked up I didn't even notice at first that they were in grayscale. Like, I was just not paying attention. Kyrie, her corpse was found inside the Rose Garden storehouse. Her face seems to have been smashed after her death. Her damage went like neck. Like stump of the neck. Like she was chosen by the Demon's Roulette. That's all there is to it. The Demon's Roulette. That's, I think the second time we've had that term brought up here. I think the first time was Kinzo talking about it when he was like, oh shit, the thing's happening. Does that make sense? Rosa here. Her corpse was found inside the Rose Garden storehouse. Her face seems to have been smashed after her death. I'll get to see her again, so I don't feel lonely. That's an interesting couple of sentences right there. And Goda's corpse was found inside the Rose Garden storehouse. His face seems to have been smashed after his death. How unfortunate, apparently. He was originally supposed to be on duty in the guest house. So that's implying that he got fucked over because of the schedule change. Which, I think when it happened, I was like, oh shit, the schedule change. That seems like an important fact that's happening. Alright, well, I assume no one else has changed, but I'm giving it a quick look. Maria, oblivious to this. I'm sure she's going to take... Well, I was going to say sarcastically, I'm sure she's going to take this news well. But I don't know. What if, like, Maria, after, like, possible years of abuse from Rosa, is, like, just looks at the situation and goes, okay. I don't know. Maybe she's young enough where, like, if you just tell her, like, these people are gone because they've been murdered, she'd probably be traumatized. I don't think she has enough, like... I don't know. Just thinking here. Father. Is it? Is it, George? That's all you have to say? The ones lying dead.
倒れているのは
Lying over there are...
クラウスおじさん、ルドルフおじさん、キリエおばさんに
Uncle Kraus, Uncle Rudolph, Aunt Kyrie,
ローザおばさん、
and Aunt
ゴーダ
Rosa.
さんで
Getting bad at that tonight. And Aunt Rosa and Goda-san.
5人
Just those 5, right?
いや
No.
6人や
There are 6 people.
ここに
There's...
もう一人おる
Uh-oh, there's one more person over here. The body Hideyoshi was looking down on now happened to be hidden among the shadows in that mountain range of objects. Wait, who else was... Oh, shit, let me guess. Let me think. Is it going to be Kinzo? It wouldn't be her. She was there. She was accounted for. Accounted for. Accounted for. Accounted for. Is it going to be Kumasawa? Or Cannon? Cannon's there. He was accounted for, right? Is it going to be Shannon? Is it gonna be Shannon? I'd be upset. Not Shannon! Okay. Happened to be hidden among the shadows in that mountain range of objects. In a blind spot to George, who stood by the entrance. So, George couldn't tell whose body it was. So, George cursed himself. Oh no, is it Shannon and he's gonna be bummed? Oh no, he cursed the fact that his worst guess has always turned out to be right.
じゃあ
So,
お父さんの足元に倒れているのは
the one lying at your feet is... Just need some breaths. Okay, so the one lying at your feet is
シャノンなんだね
Shannon, isn't it?
Oh,
Yes,
シャノンちゃんや。
Shannon Chan. Wait, did she get an updated thing? No, no! Oh my god! Oh, we got the tiny piano being plucked. Her corpse was found inside the Rose Garden storehouse. It seems the side of her head was smashed after her death. Don't worry, everyone will be revived in the Golden Land. Alright, whoever did this just wiped out so many of the cast members here. I gotta say, now, I still don't know if I'm, like, at all correct about my Natsuhi being... This is excellent music to be theorizing here. But, like, Natsuhi, if she is Beatrice or whatever, or whether she's not, I'm curious because surface level, the game has already set us up to be like, oh, don't trust Natsuhi. She had the fucking blood around her doorknob, and I can't tell if that is just supposed to be the obvious hint to what's actually has happened, or if that is a red herring. Because as many hours as I've put into this game so far, I don't know whether I can trust it or not to be so obvious about the next step, or if I would be like, or if I can be like, no, this game has something further going on, and that's just the obvious answer isn't going to be the answer. It is not an Occam's razor type situation, you know? I'm curious though. I'm curious. Natsui! And the thing is, go back to the characters here. Genji knows. Genji is immediately gonna walk away from this situation. And then he's got this knowledge because it purposely pointed out where he was like, it noted that he saw that. So, what does he do with that knowledge? Long ellipses. George fell completely silent. He shook slightly, his lower lip trembling. Excuse me. Normally, he would have wanted to run to his beloved's body, screaming and crying. Goddamn, this game did that fucking marriage proposal scene just so that they could do this shit. Fucking of course. However, before rashly rushing forward, he worked to keep his composure and asked his father,
シャノも
Is Shannon
クラウスおじさんたちと
the same as
同じなのかな
Uncle Kraus and the others? Hideyoshi deeply understood the meaning of those words, so he couldn't give George an immediate answer. Or rather, he felt that silence was the only sincere and loving response he could give George right now. When George asked if Shannon was the same, he meant to ask whether her corpse was in the same condition as the others or not. Since Hideyoshi hadn't denied it, him and her corpse was in the same brutal state.
シャノンを
Can I
見てもいいかな。
look at Shannon?
いや
No.
あかん
No, you can't. Don't. I don't know. I was thinking about this and I didn't say it, but now I guess I'll say it. Is that, you know, the parents did the obvious thing of like trying to shield the kids from seeing it. But like, it's that thing, it's that mentality where like, okay, if you see someone that you recognize and ends up being like family in this case, like you see your last image of that person is them just, like brutally murdered, then like that's a traumatic thing. Like that's gonna stick with you. That's like your last lasting image of that person, that whether you were very close with your family or not, like that whenever you think of that person, that image is most likely going to be the last one, the one you pull from your memory. Which I assume is like the whole mentality of like why people do like those like open casket like funerals and stuff, is that so you see your last image of that person is like resting peacefully kind of thing. Whatever that case is. But then George here being like, oh, can I be with Shannon for one last time? And Hideyoshi's like, I don't think that's a good idea, son. Just
どうして
I would recommend against it. Why not?
だってもう二度とシャノンの顔を見られないんだよ。
After all, I won't be able to see Shannon's face again, right?
その最後の顔
So, why won't you let me see
どうして見たらいけないんだよ。
what her face looked like at the end?
お前が最後にシャノンちゃんに会ったのは昨日か
Last time you met Shannon-chan was yesterday, right? Yes.
そうか
I see.
そのシャノンちゃんは
When you left her,
別れ際にお前にどんな顔を見せたんや
what kind of face was she showing you?
素敵な
It was a
笑
wonderful
顔だ
smile.
ったよ。
Shit. Fuck, I ruined it. It's a wonderful smile. It was a wonderful smile. Ah, Shannon. Honestly, I mean, Kairi being dead, she seemed cool, but she wasn't one of the, you know, the four kids of Kinzo. All the other parents can go to fucking hell. I don't give a shit. But Shannon and Kairi dying is a bummer to me. After he handed her the ring, she hesitated, even though she must have already made up her mind. Then she looked bashful and ran away because she was embarrassed to let him see her face looking like that. That's the expression that was revived in George's mind.
そうか
I see.
ならシャノンちゃんもその笑顔をお前に残したいと願うはずや
Then I'm sure Shannon-chan would want to leave you with that smile in your memory. Hideyoshi looked down upon Shannon's body lying at his feet. Just like the other bodies, it was in such a horrible state that it'd make anyone want to cover their eyes. Her head had been smashed in from the side, and no more than half of her expression remained. If the remaining blood-soaked half of her expression had been wiped clean, would that graceful smile of hers have peeked out? But only half of it? Without thinking, Hideyoshi slapped his hands over his eyes. How brutal. If her face was going to be crushed anyway, then if only all of it had been crushed, he might have been able to temporarily distract George from his pain by making the pathetic suggestion that it was someone else wearing Shannon's clothes. But half her face had been left untouched. It caused the body so much humiliation, while still providing beyond doubt that the body was Shannon's and no one else's. How inhuman. Inhumane? Inhuman? How brutish. And there, trying his best to burn an image of the remaining half of Shannon's expression into his eyes, as she lay at Hideyoshi's feet, was Cannon. Now, Cannon, as far as I remember, he treated her and Shannon, him and Shannon, had like a great relationship. Like brother and sister bond. Where I think he was pretty protective of her. So that's a bummer as well. Cannon was not crying. Tears had risen to his eyes, but they did not drip down. But that didn't mean he wasn't feeling as much sadness as everyone else. Losing Shannon, who had lived with him in the same orphanage, whom he had loved as a sister, must have been just the same as losing a blood relative.
ジョージ、
George,
シャノンちゃんはきっと
I'm sure Shannon-chan
ありがとう言ってるぞ。
is saying thank you.
お前に恥ずかしいところを見られとうなかったんや。
She must be glad you didn't end up seeing her in such a pitiful state.
きっと
I'm sure.
お前が耐えてくれたこと感謝しとんで。
She's thanking you for holding strong and showing restraint.
分かってる。
Oh, he's moving outside so they can't tell he's crying. Oh, it's a terrible day for rain. I understand.
分かってるよ、父さん。分かってるよ。
I understand, father. I understand. George leaned against the outside wall of the storehouse, crouching down limply.
父さん、
Father,
頼みがあるんだ。
I have a request.
なんや。
What is it?
僕の代わりに見てほしいんだ。
I want you to look for me.
シャノンは指に
Is there
指輪をつけてるかな？
a ring on Shannon's finger?
指輪
A ring?
ちょいと見てみる。
Let me see. Now, I also hate that I keep breaking up reading the story. I'm sure people watching are like, oh, just fucking go! Go, Austin, go! But I want to say this. If I was in this position, if I was one of the alive ones here, I'd be sad for a second, but I would immediately be more afraid. I don't know when their mentalities are going to switch into, oh shit, someone had to have done this to these people. And it could have been anyone that's not me. You know what I mean? Like, immediately you go, okay, well, fuck. I'm in danger. And, like, I think, at least me personally, my brain would shift to that very quickly. I would still be sad, but I don't think I would be able to stay sad without being like, I need to actually remove myself quickly. Okay, he said a ring, let me see. Oh, here we go, new art. Hideyoshi crouched down. As he did, Cannon silently pointed to one of Shannon's hands.
あ
Yeah,
あ、あるで。
there is.
これはダイヤの指輪や。
It's a diamond ring
クズダイヤとちゃう。
with a valuable diamond.
なかなかの値打ちもんや。
That's what a diamond ring is, sir. Might have been pretty expensive. Must have been pretty expensive. And
どっちの手の
which hand?
どの指にあるのかな？
And which finger is it on?
と、左手の薬指や。
The ring finger of her left hand.
そっか。
I see.
シャノンちゃん、
So Shannon-chan
婚約しとったんか。
was engaged. Hideyoshi, come on! Put two and two together. For fuck's sake.
ジョージ、
George,
あなた
don't tell me you...
まさか。
エヴァ、
Eva!
今はそんなん関係ないで。
That doesn't matter now.
シャノンちゃんは男に将来を約束されとったんや。
Really? Does Hideyoshi not understand? This fucking thick skull man. A man made a lifelong promise to Shannon-chan.
一生を幸せにしちゃると男に言わせたんや。
A man promised her happiness for life.
それが誰かは問題とちゃうで。
Who that man was isn't the issue here.
男にそこまで言わしめて
Being told that by a man
女の本懐やないか
is a woman's dream, isn't it?
いつこの指輪をもらったんかは知らん
Unless I'm just reading it wrong. Or is he trying to dismiss it as like, oh, don't bring it up to make it more sad of a situation? But it reads, at least to me, like he's like not understanding. I don't know when she received this ring.
誰が渡したかも知らん
I also don't know who gave it to her.
だが
However,
それでもシャノンちゃんは指輪をもらえたんや
even so, Shannon-chan took this ring.
そしてそれを受け入れ
Then?
左の薬指に通したんや
Then, she accepted it and put it on her left finger. Then, she was brutally murdered here in the storehouse.
指輪を送った男も
I'm sure the man who gave it to her
きっと喜んだんとちゃうか
was also happy. To most of the people there, Hideyoshi was simply disturbed by this extraordinary situation and was blurting out nonsense. However, someone who knew of George and Shannon's true relationship would understand the full meaning of those words.
そっか
I see.
ありがと
Thank you,
う父さん
Father. Maybe he is trying to be like the protective. I think it maybe weirdly reads as like him acting aloof. But I think it's supposed to be like maybe he does get it, but he's trying not to directly bring it up. I don't think he's that dumb where he's just like, I don't fucking know, my son. Oh, fucking... I don't know who could have proposed to her. Thank you, Father. George stood up. The traces of tears still streaked his face, but his expression had returned to its usual calm one.
行こ
Let's go.
うバトラー君ジェシカちゃん
Badler-kun, Jessica-chan.
これ以上僕たちがここにいると
If we
大
stay...
人の邪魔になる
Damn it. If we stay here any longer, we'll get in the way of the adults. Sniff.
そうだな
You're right. Jessica sniffled once, showing her face to her mother, who had been holding her the whole time to let her know she was okay now. When she faced George again, she once again had on her usual expression. Although she still couldn't smile.
バトラー
Badler?
しっかり
Hang in there. Badler kept on crouching in front of his parents' bodies.
すまねえな
I'm sorry.
がっつり泣いたら落ち着いたぜ
Crying like hell calmed me down.
親父の野郎普段はクソクソ言ってるくせに
You bastard. Dad, I bet you're laughing at me.
ちょっと死んじまったくらいでピーピー泣くんじゃねえぜって笑ってやがれ
After all that shit I talked about you, here I am crying like a baby just because you died.
仕方ねえだろ
Well, so what?
親が死んだら泣くように遺伝子すり込まれちまってんだからよ
I guess I just got that gene that makes you cry when your parents kick the bucket. Badler's face was still bright red from the tears, but he had at least recovered enough to fake a smile, if only a bitter one.
カノン
Cannon,
お前もこれ以上ここにいてはいけません
you mustn't remain here any longer either.
子供たちを連れてお屋敷に戻っていなさい
Take the children and return to the mansion. Natsui had been standing under the rain this whole time, unable to take a step into the storehouse. Maybe she had her own way of grieving, different from Badler's. Realizing that she had to take on a role of responsibility now that her husband was dead, she gave Cannon those orders.
はい
Yes. Also, one thing I should probably check. Just putting it out there. I assume this works because we got the whole table situation and it's like, oh, this person, then this person, then this person. And that's like the order. The order of... I don't want to say importance, but the order of like where the succession to the like the power of the family would go to. And if Eva stays alive with Kraus going down, she's then in just of note, then she's next in line, which again may or may not be important. I could see this being like a thing where like, okay, let's take my thing I said earlier a step further. I had said like, oh, I wouldn't be able to trust anyone on this island once like a third of the people are dead and killed and murdered. What if her being now the next in line kind of just like plants those seeds of doubt amongst the rest of the family? I would assume someone's going to bring up that fact and be like, hey, oh, so convenient, Eva, that you're alive. And you didn't die along with all the other direct children to Kinzo, right? I just want that on the record. Okay. Yes. Madam. Cannon rose silently and turned to face me. His face was pure white, almost as though his own heart had died along with Shannon. And there was no life in his expression. On an ordinary day, if he had been told to guide the children through the beautiful rose garden, Cannon might have led the way. But now, there was no distinction between Cannon and the children. They were now just kids of about the same age, suffering the pain of losing those close to them. After making sure that children were leaving, Natsui started giving orders to Genji. Genji?
すぐに警察に連絡しなさい。
Contact the police immediately.
台風が通り過ぎるまでは来られないでしょうが、どうすればいいか指示を与えてくれるはずです。
They probably won't be able to come until the typhoon passes, but they should be able to tell us what to do next.
わかりました。
Understood.
防災用の無線機がありますので、それで連絡します。
There's an emergency radio, so I'll use that to contact them. When she heard that, Natsui remembered. That's right, the phones were out today, weren't they? However, they also had a radio, since they couldn't necessarily rely on phones all the time while living on an isolated island. At any rate, they should start by contacting the police and receiving their instructions. Everything else could wait.
ナチョ先生、
Dr. Nanjo,
もうこの場はどうしようもありませんか。
is there anything more you can do here?
残念ながら、
Unfortunately,
私には何もできませんな。
there's nothing I can do.
わかりました。
Understood.
源氏、せめて主人たちの顔を何かで覆ってやることはできませんか。
Genji, could you at least cover their faces with something?
このような姿を晒すことは当人にとっても屈辱的でしょうか。
Exposing them like this is humiliating to them as well.
はい。
Yes, ma'am. Genji picked up several dried-up towels from inside the storehouse. When Eva stopped him with a shrill voice.
ちょっとちょっと
Wait a second.
お待ちなさいよ。
Stop.
ここは犯行現場なんでしょ。
This is the scene of the crime, isn't it?
なら変に手を加えちゃダメよ。
Then we mustn't disturb it.
私たちは混乱してて現場に土足で踏み入っちゃったけど、それはきっと警察の捜査の邪魔になったわよ。
We all panicked and walked in here with our shoes on, but even that will surely get in the way of the police's investigation, right? Alright, so Eva is the first to... I don't want to say be the one that I was saying earlier, like, oh shit, she doesn't trust anyone. But she's the first one to, like, get past the sentimental, or, like, the sadness phase. And she's like, oh, we got business to do. People are dead. Don't disturb this scene of the crime. Excuse me, crime. Natsui glared at Eva, offended. Objectively speaking, Eva was right. Even so, she glared at Eva as though accusing her of refusing to do those tragic corpses, which had been humiliated even after death, the simple kindness of covering their faces. However, Eva had spoken both calmly and correctly. This horrible situation definitely wasn't an accident. It was a crime. Someone had killed them. It was a murder case. So, they needed to be careful to avoid disturbing the site any further. They had to do what little they could to aid the police, preserving clues that might help catch the detestable culprit.
私もエヴァさんに賛成ですな。
I agree with Eva-san.
警察が来るまでここは手をつけずにしておくべきです。
Until the police come, we should leave everything be.
奥様、 いかがなさいますか。
What do you say, madam?
そうですね。
You're right.
わかりました。
Very well.
ここを閉ざしなさい。
Close it up.
それから念のためここに別の施錠をするように。
And just in case, we should put a different lock on it.
別の施錠？
A different lock?
ええ、
Yes.
ここに来た時シャッターの鍵は閉じていました。
When we came here, the shutter was locked.
ということはシャッターの鍵を使い犯人が施錠したということです。
That means the culprit used the key to the shutter. That means the culprit used the key to the shutter to lock it.
確かに通りや。
That makes sense.
じゃあここを開けた限り犯人の指紋が残ってるんとちゃうんか。
So, does that mean the key that opens the shutter will have the culprit's fingerprints on it?
警察に証拠として提出する価値はあるでしょうけど、
I'm sure it'll be worth submitting it to the police as evidence.
カノン君が普通に持ってここを開けるのに使用しちゃったわ。
But Cannon-kun usually has it, and he used it to unlock the shed just now.
多分カノン君の指紋も付着しちゃってるわよ。
It'll probably have Cannon's fingerprints on it.
そしてその鍵はさっき源氏さんに手渡され、源氏さんも素手で受け取ってる。
Also, the key was handed to Genji-san just now, and he took it with his bare hands.
大した証拠にはなりそうにないわね。
It doesn't look like it'll be very useful as evidence.
それは不用心でした。
That was careless of me.
申し訳ございません。
My apologies.
源氏さん、
Genji-san,
この倉庫の鍵は他にもあるんか？
are there any other keys to the storehouse?
いいえ、
No.
この一つだけです。
Only this one.
ということは犯人はその鍵を使用人室から持ち出し、
So the culprit walked out of the servant room with that
そ
key,
して律儀に元の場所に戻したちゅうことになるな。
and then was nice enough to return the key to where they found it. Hideyoshi's theory sounded plausible, but was actually very strange if you thought about it. Why would they go to all the trouble of returning a key they stole? No, if you think about it even more deeply, there are some points that are even more bizarre. When a criminal hides a body, they're usually trying to delay the point at which it'll be found so they can use that time to escape. The six weren't necessarily killed here, but it was reasonable to assume that they were killed somewhere on this island, carried to the storehouse, and hidden to delay the discovery of the crime. And yet, the eerie magic circle scribbled on the storehouse shutter had eloquently indicated the location of the hidden corpses. Sure, didn't explicitly mention the corpses, but 6 people had gone missing. In that situation, someone had made such an obvious piece of graffiti and even returned the key to the shutter, almost as though they wanted the corpses here to be discovered.
とにかく一度は犯人が開け閉めをした施錠だけでは信用できません。
Anyway, we can't put all our faith in a lock that the culprit has opened once before.
犯人の手からもこの場所を保護する意味で施錠を新たにしたいと言っているのです。
If we want to protect this place from the culprit's hand, I think we should put a new lock on it.
いい案だと思います。
I think that is a good plan.
私も賛成です。
I agree. Genji fished around inside the storehouse and sealed a brand new padlock that had been inside a small box.
鍵はどうなさいますか？
What should I do with the key?
私が持ちましょう。
I will take it. I'm trustworthy.
責任を持って警察に手渡します。
I will take responsibility and hand it over to the police. Natsui took the key to the padlock from Genji's hand. After that, they all exited and lowered the shutter. And so, corpses were once again sealed behind that shutter, which was still covered with that creepy magic circle. Genji crouched down in front of the shutter to fasten the new padlock. Shutters often have a place in front where you can attach your own lock, in addition to the main lock of the shutter. This was one of those types. In the midst of the roar of thunder and the pouring rain, the storehouse stood there ominously. With its closed shutter still covered in a blood-like creepy substance, it swallowed up the bodies of the 6. To Natsui, putting the new lock on wasn't mainly to preserve the scene for the police. She might have felt like she wanted to shut that mouth for all eternity. Wait, putting it on wasn't mainly to preserve the scene. Okay. To prevent that eerie beast from swallowing up any more victims.
さあ行きましょう皆さん
Come on. Let's go, everyone.
南條先生ご足労をありがとうございました
Dr. Nanjo, thank you very much for your work.
現時は急いで警察に連絡を
Genji, hurry and contact the police.
戻りましたらすぐに連絡します。
I will do as soon as I return. The adults left the storehouse. The ghastly magic circle drawn in the shutter kept the 6 bodies in its throat, looming eerily as the lightning occasionally lit it up. Oh, 15 minutes later. Oh, I was literally just about to ask. I was like, oh, are we going back to Maria, who is none the wiser about all the situations that were happening? All that could be heard was the sound of the rain, the voices from the kids' TV program Maria was watching, and the engrossed Maria's cackling voice. In other words, what greeted them as they returned dumbfounded from that horrible, bizarre scene was the voice of Maria as she rolled around laughing at the TV. Oh, it's rough. Those who returned to the room didn't know how to explain to Maria that her mother was dead, and were trapped by a suffocating silence. At first, Maria returned their stares with a dubious look, but when she realized they weren't trying to blame her for anything, she ignored them and again immersed herself in the TV program. Sorry. I was taking a drink there. The children wordlessly sat down heavy on the sofa. Their minds were probably blank from their state of shock. Everyone had already cried and mourned so much, but now they just vaguely sat there. Their faces seemed to have lost all emotion. Only Cannon had returned to his usual calm expression. However, that probably didn't mean he'd been able to wipe out the shock. Nothing was reflected in his eyes as he stared into empty space. Hideyoshi kept on fidgeting, and every time he remembered that horrible scene, he started muttering about how he couldn't believe it, how it couldn't have been something from this world, how it must have been the work of demons, gargoyles, dark-sided. Every now and then, his mutterings produced a question directed at Nanjo, but the latter kept repeating in a calm, doctor-like manner that nothing could be understood by only glancing at the scene, and that until the police arrived, they wouldn't learn anything. However, Nanjo only appeared calm next to Hideyoshi, who simply couldn't suppress his agitation and fear. In fact, Nanjo had also received a huge shock, and his face was a deathly pale. Maybe that atmosphere was why she tried to rise to the challenge and take charge. Natsui appeared to be unchanged from her normal attitude, and she briskly gave directions.
私はお父様のところへ行ってきます
I will go see father.
現時は急ぎ警察へ連絡を
Genji, quickly contact the police.
かしこまりました。
Certainly.
私も一緒させていただいていいかしら、夏日姉さん。
I wonder if you would allow me to tag along, Natsui-ni-san.
クラウス兄さんがいなくなった以上、お父様の補佐は私の仕事だもの。
Since Kraus-ni-san is now gone, task of aiding father has been left to me.
その私が夏日姉さんに任せっきりで、ここでくつろいでいるわけにはいかないわ。
Wait, my category is still just chatting? No way. Oh, I didn't hit update. I changed it? Oh, fuck. Thank you for catching that. Damn. Damn, son. I updated it, but I didn't, like, submit it through OBS. Awkward. Okay, it should be updated now, right? Yeah. That's embarrassing. God, I haven't messed, like, a category change, I feel like, in quite some time. Man, during the BRB, I updated it. I just didn't hit, like, I mean, on OBS, it's done. But I didn't submit it. I didn't hit, like, I didn't hit the button to push it through. It's awkward. Well, you know what? What is Umineko but just me just chatting at screen, you know? I mean, where's the lies? But thanks for catching that. It would be improper of me to relax here while relying entirely on you. Natsui was struck speechless by Eva's aggressive move in a situation like this. I'm telling you, Eva is all business. She's all business right now. She seemed to be claiming that, with Kraus dead, the one to take responsibility shouldn't be his wife, but herself, the next highly ranked in the family. Or maybe she hadn't been at all happy when Natsui took command without reference to her in such an extreme situation. However, even Eva's mind had been blank from shock until a moment ago. She only came to her senses after Natsui started giving orders. I'm gonna attempt to not bang the mic as I lose the flannel thing I'm wearing. I'm trying to get more comfortable. Oh god. Oh, I hit the mic. Oh god. Oh shit. Fuck. Wait. Give me like a second. I'm just gonna back away. I was trying to make it more difficult on myself here. I don't know if that sounded terrible as I was doing that. Why don't I just stand like a normal person? Why am I so difficult? Okay, that's gone. Maybe it's the, maybe it's the context of the story, but I'm getting all hot and bothered, and I was like, I need to shed a layer. Okay, I'm better. I'm freer. I have one less shirt on. Okay, dots. What my setup looks like? It's pretty plain. It's just, I like sitting like really close to my mic. And instead of like backing up just like an inch or two to give myself like room to move my arms, I just like, I was trying to like be not like, just be very like unable to be like detected. I was trying to take that off as I was reading still, and I failed massively. So I apologize there. Alright, just do as you like. Natsui started walking without saying a word more. Eva followed behind her. As they did, Kumisawa ran into the parlor. She usually wasn't the kind of person to run around, so under normal conditions, most people would have taken her entrance as a sign that something was the matter. But because everyone was still stricken with shock, they hardly even noticed her. Madam. Madam.
夏希姉さんならお父さんのところへ行ったで。
If you're looking for Natsui-san, she went to see father.
すぐ戻ってくるやろ。
She'll probably be back soon.
どないしたんや、熊沢さん。
What happened, Kumisawa-san?
それが食堂に血が。
You see, in the dining hall, there was blood. The ears of everyone in the parlor twitched. Is it more people dead? Or is it maybe they were killed in the dining hall and then taken to the storage area? The ears of everyone in the parlor twitched. Everyone thought the same thing. I hope I misheard that. Any container can only hold so much. And no one here would be capable of handling yet another tragedy. So they all thought it. I hope I misheard that.
なんやって？
Oh, what happened?
食堂？
In the dining hall?
朝食の準備に
When I went to the dining hall
食堂に配膳に行ったら
to set up for breakfast. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The first one to start running was George. His harsh footsteps jogged Hideyoshi and Nanjo to their senses, and they chased after him. Battler and the others followed. They flew into the dining hall one after another, but they didn't find any change that might have caused Kumisawa to go pale. To those who had viewed that gruesome scene in the storehouse, it was a bit of an anticlimax. However, Kumisawa, who had followed them, pointed it out. There really were some traces of blood remaining on the floor. Compared to that terrible scene, it wasn't very impressive. However, if you calmly thought about it, this definitely indicated the loss of a lot of blood.
ここにも血だまりがあるよ。
There's another puddle of blood over here.
これは一体
What in the world?
だいぶ時間が経っているように見えますな。
It appears that a great deal of time has passed.
おそらく昨べここで殺されたんだと見ていいでしょう。
It's probably safe to say that they were killed here last night.
そういうことになるんやろな。
Definitely looks that way.
わしらは昨べずっと食堂で話し合いをしとった。
We were talking together in the dining hall until late into the night.
そしてここに何者かが押し入ったに違いない。
After that, someone must have forced their way in.
父さんたちが打ち合わせを抜けて休んだのは何時だっけ？
Dad, when did you and Mom slip out of the meeting and go to sleep?
昨夜の24時を少し過ぎたくらいの頃や。
It was a little past midnight.
だから
So,
その後に
we should probably assume
と考えるんが妥当やろな。
it happened after that.
マジかよ。
Are you kidding me?
勘弁してくれよ。
Give me a break.
お嬢様しっかり
I kind of read that weird. It probably should have been like, are you kidding me? Give me a break. I was reading it like she was being like sarcastically saying that. Milady, please stay strong.
俺はもうさっきの倉庫でこの世の地獄ってやつを拝んじまったから
After seeing
今
that
更このくらいじゃ答えないぜ。
After seeing that hell on earth in the storehouse, this is nothing.
そうかよ。よかったな。
Really? Good for you.
私は頭がどうにかなっちまいそうだぜ。
I feel like my head's gonna explode.
ここは食堂だぜ。
This is the dining hall, right?
私が毎日ここで食事をして、学校のことをぼやいたり、宿題のことをぼやいたり。
Every day, this is where I'd eat. Complain about school. Complain about homework.
親父に学校の成績の話をされたり。
Talk to my dad about my grades.
そういうところなんだぜ。
That's what this place is to me.
お嬢様
Milady,
これ以上ここにいるのはよくありません。
it wouldn't be good to remain here any longer. Hi! I saw the thing. I saw the thing. Well, I didn't actually see the thing. But I read the thing.
100万へ戻りましょう。
Let's return to the parlor.
俺も同感さ。
I agree.
秀吉おじさん、
Uncle Hideyoshi.
この部屋は多分警察にとって重要な意味があると思います。
I think this room will be really important to the police.
俺たちが踏み荒らしちまうのはまずいんじゃないですか。
Don't you think it'd be bad if we trampled all over it? Battler proposed this in a slightly firm voice as, along with Cannon, he grabbed the pail and shaking Jessica's shoulders. Wait, Battler proposed this in a slightly firm voice as, along with Cannon, he grabbed the pail and shaking Jessica's shoulders. Okay. Sure. That reads weird to me, but it's fine.
バト
It
ラさんの
passes.
言う通りですな。
Everything is just as Battler-san has said.
この部屋にこれ以上好んで居続けることはありますまい。
There's nothing more to be gained from remaining in this room. Nandra spoke while looking at everyone's pale faces. Even though that horrible scene in the storehouse felt like something not of this world, at least then we'd been able to leave, to cut ourselves off from that place and run away. Everyone had shared in that feeling. However, this dining hall was different. It was in the the main building on this estate. And as Jessica had said, it should have been one of the most calming places, even inside the mansion. It was where all of the relatives had eaten lunch and dinner yesterday. The shock of seeing this place smeared with blood reminded us of that horrible spectacle in the storehouse. It forced us to accept that we hadn't really been able to run away from the scene of that tragedy.
わしも同感や。
I agree too.
この部屋には犯人の痕跡が残ってるかもわからんしな。
The culprit might have left traces in this room.
素人のわしらがかき回すべきとちゃうで。
Amateurs like us shouldn't stir the place up.
はよ出るんや。
Let's leave quickly.
はよはよ。
Quickly. Hideyoshi also understood the meaning of what Battler had said and pushed everyone to hurry out of the dining hall. The way we were then, looking at that blood any longer would have been too harsh. Nobody went against his words. Everyone raced each other out of the dining hall. It was almost as though the last person in the room would be trapped in there, all alone. Well, that would be a fun game to play. The last one out has to stay with the blood. And stay in the blood in the room. Once in the hallway, we lent a hand to Kumasawa. Are they just not going to say anything to Maria? Are they just... I mean, I don't know exactly how you handle that situation in that point, but like, what, are you just going to be like, well, shit. Once in the hallway, we lent a hand to Kumasawa, who was still trembling and leaning against the wall, and we all headed back to the parlor together. Then, Genji returned.
お、源氏さん。
Oh, Genji-san.
警察に連絡はつきましたか。
Were you able to contact the police?
それが申し訳ございません。
As to that, I'm afraid I must apologize. Oh, here comes a piano. Oh shit, here comes a piano. Okay. Wait, why isn't it?
無線機の故障か。
That was weird.
それ以外の理由によるものかわかりませんが。
I don't know if it was a failure of the radio or something else that caused it, but...
なんや、警察に連絡がつかんのか。
What the? So you couldn't contact the police?
電話も無線もどっちもダメなんか。
Oh, it's more of that perfect storm is happening. Just so they have no contact to the outside world. Everything is happening. Both the phone and the radio failed?
申し訳ございません。
My apologies.
月曜の朝に船が来ることになっていますので、
A
その
boat,
船の通信機を借りることができると思います。
a boat will be arriving on Monday morning, and I believe we'll be able to borrow their communications equipment.
この島には船はないんか。
Isn't there a boat on this island?
新島の警察署までちょっくら行ってくることはできんのか。
Can't we just take a little trip out to the Nijima Police Department?
秀吉さん、この天気では無理だ。
Hideyoshi-san, that would be impossible with this weather.
少なくとも台風が通り過ぎるまではどうにもなりません。
At the very least, we can't do anything until the typhoon passes us by.
クラウス様のボートは今修理中で島にございません。
Kraus-sama's boat is being repaired and is not on the island.
ですので月曜の船を待つほかないかと。
Therefore, we must wait for the boat coming on Monday.
そんなアホな話があるか。
How could this happen?
6人も死んだんやで。
6 people are dead.
そして電話も無線も通じず、船もない。
The phones and radio aren't working and there's no boat.
台風が過ぎて船が来るまで、つまり明日の朝までわしらは警察にも連絡できず、この島におれっちゅうことなんか。
So, Till the typhoon passes and the boat comes. In other words, until tomorrow morning, we're gonna be stuck here on this island, unable to contact the police, aren't we?
ってことはつまり
Way to summarize it, Hideyoshi. Which means that
俺たちだけじゃなく
not just us.
おじさんたちを殺した犯人
There we go. This is what I was
この島から出
expecting.
られず
This is what we were waiting for. Plant the seeds of doubt. Let's fucking go. But the criminal who killed everyone is also confined to this island.
そういうことになるね
That certainly follows.
みんなを殺した犯人はまだこの島にいる
The culprit who killed everyone is still here on the island.
親父たちを殺した奴はこの島から逃げ出せずまだ潜んでやがるってことかよ
So the bastard who killed Dad and the others must still be hiding somewhere, unable to escape.
くそくそくそくそ
Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it.
見つけ出してやるぜ警察になんか引き渡すもんか
I'll catch that bastard. No way I'll hand him over to the police.
私がこの手でやっ先にしてやる
I was literally just about to say I was thinking she was gonna say something like smashing the other. If she got a hold of that person, she would smash that person's face to bits. Or, not to bits, but smash that person's face into oblivion. But I'll slice him to bits myself. Ah. I thought she was gonna do more of a scream there. Oh, here we go. Here's Maria. Let's see if she's putting 2 and 2 together. Maria had finally realized that something odd was happening in the parlor. Rather than noticing something odd, it was probably better to say she felt unhappy and neglected, since everyone was getting so excited about something only she didn't know about. Ooh. You see, she was just very wrapped up in what was going on the television. You know, very important stuff. Jessica Oni-chan. Did someone die? Yeah, Maria? The way she spoke was completely calm. Oh, this child is not right. This child. This sweet idiot child. Something's not right. She's gonna like start levitate. She's gonna do a mind freak and she's gonna start like levitating off the ground. And then she's gonna do exorcist like head spinning shit. And then like the the typhoon's gonna like knock out the windows and she's gonna be like, it's gonna reveal that she's like some just like, I don't even know. Something's not right. Something's not right with her. Oh, God, the way she spoke was completely calm. Just as though she was talking about someone who had appeared on a television drama, as though it was someone else's problem. Jessica probably didn't like that. As though trying to say, "Can't you tell just by looking at me?" Overwhelmed with grief, she flared up at Maria. They all died. Everyone.
私の親父もトトラの父さんと母さんも
My dad and Battler's parents.
幸田さんもシャノンも
Goda-san and Shannon.
そしてマリアの母さんも
And even your mother, too.
よすんだジェシカちゃん
Stop it, Jessica-chan.
悲しいのは君だけじゃない
You aren't the only one who's sad.
マリアさん
Maria-san,
ショックだろうが聞いてください
I know this will come as a shock, but please listen.
あなたのお母さんがな
Your mother
死んでしまいました
has died.
ママが死んじゃった
Mama died?
ああ誰かに殺されちまった
Yeah, someone killed her.
悲しいだろうがよ心をしっかり
I know it's sad, but stay strong. How many people
何人死んじゃった
died?
6人だぜ
6 people.
6人だ
6 people.
くそ
Damn it, damn it, damn it. I can't recall the fucking the the riddle on the bottom of the painting. I don't remember if it was supposed to be if it was 6 for like the first phase or whatever. But obviously, I'll just say it now. Maria, she seems unfazed. She doesn't give a shit. Honestly, she's just living her life. Oh, I don't know if I read it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. How could anyone do something that cruel? There's a limit to how cruel you can be. If you're human... I don't know who it is, but the culprit isn't human. There's no way their blood is red. Ooh. The culprit isn't human. Excuse me? It's just the redacted chosen by the redacted? It's just the fuck chosen by the fuck. This reminds me of like in Kingdom Hearts when Nomura really thought he was on some shit, and like one of the final scenes of the game is like Sora said like a sentence or something, but they hid the like one of the words, and the way they hid it was like not even asterisks, but like weird like characters, like weird like just symbols. And then you have like people on the internet for like days and days just being like, what does it mean? What does it mean? And then it was I'm pretty sure Nomura came out and was just like, oh, it's just a stand-in. We don't want to... It was either like, we don't want to reveal the name or the word that he said, or... he was like, or we haven't come up with what we want to put there. And it's like, fuck it. Nomura. Nomura. Okay, what is... The culprit isn't human. It's just the blank chosen by the blank. I'm going to say... It's just... If we're not saying that it's 4 letters, I'm going to say... It's just the... sacrifices chosen by the witch. That is my formal submission. If we're going based off the riddle thing. I don't even know if it's fair to call it a riddle. The painting dealio. It's just the sacrifices chosen by the witch.
Huh?
And Battler says, huh? What were those words you said, Maria?
Wait. Maria.
Hey, Maria?
今、なんて言った?
Did you say something just now? Maria had just said something. But since the words were so remotely separated from the flow and context of the conversation, I couldn't understand them for a second. When I tried to ask her to repeat it again, I was shocked by the sudden sound of Aunt Natsui's loud voice coming from the entrance to the parlor. It looked like Aunt Natsui and Aunt Eva had returned from their trip to see grandfather.
無線でも連絡できない?
You can't contact them, even with the radio?
こんな時に使えなくて何のための防災無線ですか?
If we can't use it at a time like this, why do we even have an emergency radio?
申し訳ございません。
It's a very fair, valid question. If you can't use the emergency radio in an emergency, what is even the point? My apologies. Oh, I banged my glasses on the fucking microphone there. I'm a fucking mess tonight. My apologies. It was supposed to have a maintenance inspection every year.
ほら、光をチカチカさせるみたいな船舶信号ってあるじゃない?
The one thing I always say, when I'm playing games and shit, for stream and everything, or reading on stream, I get animated. It's probably one of the reasons I don't use the camera, but my arms, my hands, my face, my head is all just moving. It's just moving everywhere. I really get into it. And so it's not weird for me to bang my face in front of the mic. Alright, wait. Don't you have one of those boat signaling devices that makes a flashing light?
そういうので向こうの島に連絡することはできないのかしら?
Couldn't you use that to contact the next island?
そのような設備はございません。
We do not have such equipment.
申し訳ございません。
My sincere apologies. Just then, Kumasawa arrived, pushing a servant cart loaded with breakfast. Since there was no way we'd be able to eat in the dining hall, Hideyoshi had ordered her to take it to the parlor.
なぜ朝食をこちらに
I don't know. If it was me, I would just say, let's skip breakfast. But what do I know? I would be like, I just saw a handful of people's faces just obliterated. I'm not hungry right now. Why are we eating breakfast here?
ああ、夏日さん、それは後で話す。
Natsui-san, I'll tell you later.
それよりエヴァ、お父さんはどうなんや。
More importantly, Eva, how is father?
ご一緒でないところを見ると、
Judging by the fact that he's not with you,
このような事態になっても部屋から出ませんか。
it seems he will not leave his room even for a situation like this.
いないわ。
He wasn't there.
部屋は空っぽだったのよ。
The room was empty. Does that sound effect mean a thing? Does that mean this gets updated? That was the one. Oh! Oh, oh God! Ah! Oh! He's become grayscale. He's a grayscale. It was the same sound effect we had gotten, I thought, when these got updated along the way. So what? Just because he's gone? If you're in limbo, you become gray, you lose the color. You become... Yeah, I found these already. I was so on top of this shit. I was so... You don't even know. This reminds me, if you'll recall, Halloween Town 2, when Cal, I think, was taking the color away from Halloween Town or something. Honestly, with how many times I've seen that movie, I don't remember the plot. But it was becoming all boring and shit, and everything was turning gray. That's what's happened to Kinzo here. Oh, you got fucked up by the picture thing? No, I thought... So it was funny, because I was calling it beforehand. Because, like, I'm familiar with, like, obviously, like, I think the main thing I was thinking of was, like, Danganronpa, which I'm a big fan of the series. And, like, as you go into each chapter, and you go into the trial of each progressive chapter, like, they keep the portraits of the characters up in the trials, but then cross over just, like, with an X, like a stylized X for each character. And so, like, I was thinking that was going to be the case, as, like, if people got killed off. But then I went in here, and I was like, oh, fuck, they're just red, and then their faces... bloodied. Both include 2 distinct pieces of art. What do you mean? What do you mean 2? What? Oh, I know what you mean. Okay, I see what you're saying. No, it's funny. I was, like, asking, like, I was like, oh, am I gonna actually send... Oh, Halloween Town in this. Yes, of course. You know, in the annals of, I probably said that wrong, of great art, it's Halloween Town 2, and, this game. I was wondering if they were going to actually show, like, I wanted to see, like, key piece of art, like, them all on the ground. I don't know what that says about me, but I just kind of wanted to see it. He wasn't there. The room was... Oh, wait, I didn't even... Did his bio thing get updated? Okay, here we go. Disappeared from his study... I forgot to read this. Disappeared from his study unnoticed. Kenzo's study has everything from a bed to a toilet to a bathtub, so it is extremely rare for him to go outside. However, he does occasionally go out for a walk on a whim without telling anybody, and his disappearance invariably leads to a huge uproar throughout the house. And his disappearance... Okay. He usually comes back as soon as he gets hungry. Usually. Is this a threat? He wasn't there. The room was empty.
なんやて
Oh, we got some Gregorian chanting. We got... Oh. Oh. I can't harmonize with shit. What the?
こんな時にどこ行ったんや
Where could he have gone at a time like this?
親方様が書斎を出られたというのですか
He caught wind that some shit was about to go down, and he's like, I don't want to be a part of this. Do you mean to say the master has left his study?
そうです。私も驚いています。
That is correct. I was surprised myself.
いつの間に部屋を出たのやら。
I wonder when he left his room.
あなたたちに心当たりはないのですか
Do any of you have an idea? Natsui looked at Genji and Cannon as she said this. Maybe she was trying to ask whether the servants who served directly under the one-winged eagle, I almost said angel again, knew of a place he might go. However, it was probably the other way around. Their faces made it clear that those who knew Kinzo best realized even more than the rest how impossible it was for him to leave his room.
僕たちにも見当がつきません
Even we have no idea.
ご存知の通り、親方様はあの書斎の中にお休みの場所からご不浄まで全てを設けさせました。
As you all know, because you read that character bio just a minute ago, within that study, the master had everything from a place to sleep to a bathroom.
親方様があの部屋をお出になることなどよっぽどのことがない限り考えられません。
I couldn't imagine him leaving that room except for a significant reason.
となるとなんや
In that case, what?
そのよっぽどのことがあったって考えるのが自然だっちゅうことになるんか
Isn't it natural to assume that one of those significant reasons came up?
まだそうと決まったわけではありません。
We still cannot be certain that's the case.
とにかく気まぐれな方ですから。現状をご存知なく、お一人で散歩をされている可能性もあります。
Anyway, he is a fickle person, so it's possible he went for a walk by himself, unaware of the current situation.
仮にそうだとしたら、一刻も早く現状をお知らせして、ご指示を仰がねばなりません。
If that is the case, then we must act in all haste to tell him what has happened and ask for instructions.
そうね。
That's right.
考えたくはないけど。お父様の身に何かあったのかもしれないしね。
Although I don't want to think about it, it's possible something has happened to him, isn't it?
そのような不吉なことは考えたくもありません。
I'd rather not even consider such a sinister possibility. No one had seen Kinzo since the discovery of those 6 terrible corpses. On top of that, the phones were broken, the radio wouldn't reach anyone, and there was no way to contact the police. Apparently, the typhoon would leave tomorrow and a boat would come. But until then, no one could rely on anyone outside the island, nor could they escape the island. The tragedy had hit everyone so abruptly that they'd lost all their composure. Everyone felt a heavy silence. Everyone was impatient. Even though they needed to do something, they couldn't think of anything. So some of them held their heads in their arms, while others got irritated. Right now, no one could explain what was occurring on this island, Rokenjima. Silence. After that, we ate the breakfast Kumasawa-san had made, which felt dry and tasteless. Like I said earlier, I would not be able to eat at this moment, but I'm not much of a breakfast person anyway. Of course, this was right after something like that had happened. No one felt particularly hungry. However, we understood logically that not eating would weaken our bodies. It would also be rude to Kumasawa-san, who had made the breakfast. I'd be like, respectfully, Kumasawa, I am not eating breakfast. She had taken some unusual Western vegetables. What? Unusual Western vegetables? Ones that Koda-san had probably ordered for his ultra-elaborate meals, and cooked them in a Japanese style, which made them turn an unpleasant color. As to what Goto-san had been planning to cook with those ingredients, right then I couldn't even imagine it. If I did think about it, I'd be reminded of the way Goto-san died, and a sour taste would fill the inside of my mouth. Everyone pretended to eat for the time being, but of course, no one made much progress. Then, we began pooling our knowledge of our current situation. First off, 6 people, which included Uncle Kraus, my dad, Kairi-san, Aunt Rosa, Goto-san, and Shannon-chan, had been found in the Rose Garden storehouse as brutally mutilated corpses. And yet, we still couldn't contact the police since both the phones and the radio were unusable. So, until the typhoon passed, there was nothing we could do. Furthermore, Grandfather, who we might have hoped would be able to show a little leadership in this kind of a situation, had disappeared some time ago. Goto-san hadn't made breakfast, so Grandfather's stomach must have been empty. And if he had just been taking a casual walk, we should have been able to hear him whining about how hungry he was by now. And despite that, he hadn't appeared. There was more than a small chance that he'd gotten caught up in this crime. According to my aunts, on their way back from Kinzo's study, they'd searched for him, calling out on every floor, but were unable to find him. Considering the timing of it all, it's only reasonable to assume that the disappearance had something to do with the crime. We figured Dad and the rest were probably killed in the dining hall, and then painstakingly moved to the storehouse. So maybe Grandfather had already been killed. I mean, I hate to bring it up again, but like this then just reminds me of like a game like in Danganronpa where like if someone was killed in another room, which I'm sure was a plot to some trial and murder case, but like if someone was killed in one room and then transported to another one, then you'd be like trying to figure out how it was that they like moved the bodies so easily or whatever. And so I'm just trying to think like, as far as I can tell, the dining room and that storage area weren't like side by side, so you would have to murder 6 people and then somehow transport them. It seems difficult. Seems hard to do. So maybe Grandfather has already been killed and dragged to some strange place which we simply haven't discovered yet. No one actually said it out loud, but this theory seemed extremely convincing.
私たちはお屋敷の戸締まりを確認してきます。
We will go check that all the windows and doors are locked.
お父様も念入りに探さなければなります。
Again, I would just, if I was still alive here in this situation, I would literally get some food, pick a room, lock myself in there, and just hide for a day until the typhoon passed. I wouldn't trust a single soul left in this mansion. I would be just go ultimate surviving mode. Just, I don't care about anyone else. Just stay alive. We must also conduct a thorough search for Father.
子供たちはこの部屋を出ないように。
The children must remain in this room.
エヴァさんと秀吉さんは申し訳ありませんが、ここで子供たちと一緒にいてください。
Also, it's very weird. Like, I feel like I just glossed over the fact, but like, well, it's because I brought up Kingdom Hearts, so that's probably why I passed on so much. But like, Battler asked Maria, they were like, hey, Maria, this shit's going down. And then she said her weird thing. And what? There was no follow-up after she said the weird thing? They were all just like, all right, that's cool. Whatever the hell you said, Maria. That's fine. We're cool with this weird thing you just said. Is there no follow-up? We're just... Are they just accepting the fact? Are they just like, fuck, like, we... They're like, fuck, we just saw some people, our family murdered. A third of us gone. They fear her. I mean, fair, then again, this goes back to my other thing. You get far away from her. You remove yourself away from Maria. Eva-san and Hideyoshi-san, I'm sorry, but please stay here with the children.
南條先生もお願いいたします。
I'd like to ask you the same, Dr. Nanjo.
わかりました。
I understand. I was so close to retirement. I was so damn close.
ここでお待ちしています。
I will wait here. Natsui followed the servants, Genji-san, Kumisawa-san, and Kanon-kun, out of the parlor. All that was left was Aunt Eva, Uncle Hideyoshi, Dr. Nanjo, and the 4 of us children, a total of 7 people.
みんなで仲良くテレビでも見て待ってよな。
Let's all stick together and maybe watch some television while we wait.
しかし、日曜日の午前中はどこな番組やっとらへんな。
Though I doubt we'll find anything good in the middle of the day on a Sunday. Television programming. What are you gonna do about it? Uncle Hideyoshi started acting cheerfully, trying to brighten up this gloomy atmosphere. Ooh. Good show. Watch it, watch it.
お、そうか。
Oh, really?
マリアちゃんはテレビ見るか。
You want to watch TV, Maria-chan?
じゃ、おじさんと一緒に見ような。
Then come and watch it with your uncle. Maria was the only one who joined in. Even though Maria had been told of her mother's death, she didn't show the slightest flicker in emotions. Was it really normal for a 9-year-old girl like Maria to act so much like a very young child? Everyone else's mood failed to improve, and they each sank absent-mindedly into their sofas.
兄貴
Aniki,
聞いていいか
can I ask you something?
なんだい
What is it?
さっき倉庫で
Just now, in the storehouse,
兄貴はシャノンちゃんの指輪の話をしたよな
you said something about Shannon-chan and a ring.
あれ送ったのは
Oh, it's just
兄貴か
fucking adding salt to the wound. Did you give that to her? Georgianiki didn't answer, but he hung his head and closed both of his eyes. There could be no clear response.
よせよパトラ
Quit it, Battler.
少しは察しろよ
Figure it out yourself.
だな
You're right.
悪いことを聞いたぜ
I shouldn't have asked.
そうさ
I'll bring back the piano. Ping, bang, bang. That's right.
僕だよ
It was me.
彼女に
Last night,
昨べ求婚したんだ
I proposed to her.
その時指輪を渡した
That was when I gave her the ring.
明日になったら
I told her that tomorrow,
それを好きな指にはめて
she should put it on whatever finger she wanted
返事としてくれって
as her answer.
気ざったらしいことを言ってね
Guess it's a pretty pretentious thing to say. And that ring had been? On the ring finger of Shannon-chan's left hand.
私さ
Well,
数年前からシャドウに相談を受けてたぜ
several years ago, Shannon came to me asking for advice
ジョージ兄さんのことです
about you, George Nissan.
なんて言ってたのかな
I wonder what she could have said.
シャノンは嘘をつくのが下手だったからよ
Shannon was always bad at lying.
ジョージ兄さんのことを言ってるのはすぐにバレバレでさ
It was obvious pretty quickly that you were the one she was talking about.
自分は
Oh, that's it? No, she... I was caught off guard there. She asked if it would be okay for her to get close to someone.
使用人の身分だけど親しくしてもいいのだろうかとか
Even though she was only a servant.
男の人の好きそうなものは何かとか
She asked about what kinds of things boys like.
どういう服を着たら喜ぶかとか
what kind of clothes she should wear to make them happy.
そんなことをいろいろとさ。
Lots of stuff like that.
なんつうのか、そのまあ焼けたぜ。
Well, guess you could say I felt envious hearing her say that.
それが婚約指輪を渡されて。
So then she was given an engagement ring.
おしまいかよ。
And it all ended right there.
価値観は人それぞれだけどよ。
Different people value things differently,
男から求婚されるってのは
but being proposed to by a man,
人生の到達点なんだと思うんだよ。
well, it can be the high point of your life.
だからきっと
So I'm sure,
昨夜のシャノンは
last night, I'm sure Shannon was happy
心の底から
from the bottom of her heart.
いや生まれてから今までの中で一番幸せだったと思うぜ。
Happier than she's ever been since the day of her birth. God, now I can't shake that song. She was gonna be saved from this working ellipses. George Aniki sighed deeply without raising his head. Or maybe tears had risen to his eyes.
シャノンは昨べゲストハウスの当番だったらしいんだ。
It seems Shannon was on duty in the guest house last night.
でもシャノンは僕と一緒にゲストハウスに帰るのを恥ずかしがって
But because she was too embarrassed to go back to the guest house with me,
お屋敷に行ってしまった。
she went over to the mansion.
シャノンの気持ちを察しろよ。
Think about how Shannon must have felt.
婚約指輪をもらえばどんなに予告されてたって普通は舞い上がっちまって頭は真っ白になっちまうぜ。
When you receive an engagement ring, that no matter how much warning you've been given beforehand, it's perfectly normal to get so excited that your mind goes blank.
気恥ずかしくて仕方なかったんだろうよ。
She must have been incredibly embarrassed.
それでシャノンは
And then, Shannon
当番でないはずのお屋敷へ行き
went to the mansion, even though she hadn't been assigned there,
そこでゴーダさんの仕事を手伝い
helped go to Sonos' work,
事件に巻き込まれてしまった。
and got caught up in this crime.
僕が
If only I hadn't
あの日
given her that ring
あの場所で
on that day,
指輪なんか渡さなければ
in that place,
シャノンは
Shannon wouldn't have
サヨは
Sayo wouldn't have
事件に巻き込まれなかったんだ。
been caught up in that crime. Oh no. This I feel bad about. You know, you analyze your past actions and what the small changes you could have done to, like, butterfly effect. Like, try to not have her get caught up in the murder thing. One could argue, George, karma. God, my distaste for George is so deep that I'm yelling karma at him. Oh, I'm dumb. Okay. Cry noise.
兄貴
Aniki.
それだけは違うぜ。
That's the one place where you're wrong.
断じて違う。
Yeah, sound the hater alarm. I'm a hardcore George hater. It's definitely wrong.
だからそれ以上泣くんじゃね
So don't cry anymore. Oh, he's still crying. He's not listening to you, Battler.
バトラ君、
Battler-kun?
そっとしてあげなさい。
Let's leave him be. After Aunt Eva said that, Dude, I've said Eva and Ava interchangeably throughout this whole game. And I refuse to stop. I stopped talking to him. Misplaced words of comfort might actually do more harm than good. Jessica sat down next to Aniki and put an arm around him. Maybe only Jessica, who had known about Aniki and Shannon's love since the beginning, and who had even discussed that relationship with Shannon, could comfort Aniki now. I went over to Aunt Eva and sat down in the opposite sofa.
バトラ君は強いわね。
Adler-kun, you really are strong.
もうだいぶしっかりしているように見えるわよ。
It looks like you've kept a good hold on yourself.
まあほら愛の深さが傷の深さじゃないですか。
Well, look, the depth of the love becomes the depth of the wound, right?
俺は別にあんなクソ親父どうしようが知ったことじゃないし。
After all, it's not like how that old bastard died has anything to do with me.
キリエさんは気の毒ですが、まあ本当の親ってわけじゃないですしね。
I feel bad about Kairi-san, but, well, she wasn't actually my parent.
あら。
My.
という割にはさっきすっごく大泣きしてたわよ。
If that's so, you certainly were crying a lot back then. Man, she can't help but be smug. She can't help it. That she is just her character. It's her personality trait. Even even with facing all this death, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna stick it to Badler. I'm gonna point out his hypocrisy.
まあ育ての親に対する恩はあのくらい泣けば OK かと思いまして。
Well, I did think at least that much crying was due as gratitude to the parent who raised me.
そのあたりの切り替えの速さやドライなあたりは本当にルドルフ譲りね。
The speed of that changeover and that dry tone must have come from Rudolph.
あの子は昔から激しく喜んだり悲しんだり怒ったりしたけれど、
That kid would always get violently happy, sad, and angry.
すぐにケロリと平静を取り戻したわ。
But he'd always regain his cool immediately afterwards.
そんなことはないっすよ。
It's nothing like that.
俺だってまだまだ心のショックから立ち直れちゃいません。
I haven't really been able to get over the shock yet.
ただ俺がみんなと違うのはそれによってどういう感情が生み出されるかってことだと思います。
I think the only difference between me and everyone else is the kinds of emotions it stirred in me.
どういうこと？
What do you mean? Oh, here we go. What is this? Oh, we got a simple bass beat. Burn. Burn, burn. Interesting. I've been acting much calmer than George, Aniki, and Jessica. That wasn't because my sadness was any less intense or because I'd already recovered. My sadness was simply getting replaced gradually with a different emotion.
悲しいっていうよりは
Rather than sad,
腹立たしいって気持ちなんすよ。
I'd say I'm more pissed off.
どこのドイツがこんなことをしやがったのか。
What bastard did this and where?
ひよこっつらに一発お見舞いしてやらないことには腹の虫が収まらねえんです。
It's kind of been eating at me that I didn't get a chance to smack him upside the face. Oh shit, is Battler gonna be the one who's like, we gotta solve who fucking did this? It's go time! That was what I really wanted to do. I couldn't forgive myself if I just sat there, overwhelmed with sadness and hugging my knees.
親父たちが殺されて以降、この島は台風に包まれたままです。
Since the time Dad and the others were killed, this island has been covered by the typhoon.
つまり、これだけの上等を決めてくれやがった野郎は、まだこの島の中にいるってことです。
Which means the bastard responsible for all this is still somewhere on the island.
そういうことになるわね。
Yes, that would seem to be the case.
今も暗い森のどこかに身を潜めているのかしら。
I wonder if they're hiding somewhere in that dark forest even now. I felt like I'd had a very similar conversation with Kairi-san the night before. That's right. After the letter from the person claiming to be Beatrice appeared at the dinner table last night, we talked about whether or not a 19th person actually exists.
エヴァおばさん、
Aunt Eva,
この殺人、
do you think this is murder?
昨べのベアトリーチェの手紙と何か関連があるんでしょうかね。
I read that wrong. He said, do you think this murder has anything to do with the letter from Beatrice last night?
ああ、例の
Ah, that one.
さあ、どうかしらね。
Well, I wonder.
あの手紙はお父様が遺産問題に絡みたくて出した怪文書という見方で兄弟は一致したんだけれども、
All of the siblings agreed that the mysterious letter was sent to further complicate the problem of father's inheritance.
それと今朝の事件に関係があるかは今の段階では分かりかねるわね。
As to whether that and the case this morning are related, it's impossible to tell at this stage.
あの手紙、本当にベアトリーチェなんて魔女がマリアに渡したんすかね。
Was that letter really given to Maria by some witch called Beatrice?
まさか
How could it be?
全部お父様の仕組んだ茶番でしょ。
All of it was a farce devised by father, wasn't it?
シャノンちゃんあたりに肖像画のドレスを着させてマリアちゃんを騙したんでしょ。
He made Shannon-chan or someone wear the dress from the portrait and tricked Maria-chan, right?
お父様らしい手の込みすぎたいたずらだと思うけど。
Isn't that just the kind of overly intricate prank father would pull?
昨べ、キリエさんとベアトリーチェは実在するんだろうかって話をしたんですけど。
Last night, I talked with Kairi-san about whether Beatrice actually exists.
キリエさんも俺たち18人の中にベアトリーチェがいるだろうと言ってましたね。
And Kairi-san also said that Beatrice is probably one of the 18 of us.
そんなの当然じゃない。
Isn't that obvious?
この島には私たちしかいないのよ。
There's no one else on this island besides us, right?
なら私たちの中の誰かがベアトリーチェを語ったに決まってるじゃない。
Then there must be someone amongst us who's pretending to be Beatrice. Oh, hit the
こ
wrong
の
button.
島には俺たち以外はいない。
There's no one else but us. There's no one else but us on this island.
すか。
You think?
当然でしょ。
Obviously, right?
私たち以外の誰がここにいるっていうの？
Are you saying there could be someone else here other than us?
この島には私たちしかいない。
No one is on this island except us.
18人しかいない。
There are only 18 people.
ならベアトリーチェを語るのも18人の中の誰かしかいないじゃない。
So the one pretending to be Beatrice has to be one of those 18. Kairi-san denied the existence of a 19th person by spinning the chessboard around. Even though Aunt Eva hadn't constructed an argument that complicated, her opinion at least was the same. Except, if that's the case, our situation starts to look very ugly. At the time of Beatrice's letter, the whole thing could be passed off as a prank set up by someone or another. However, if we're assuming there's no 19th person, we can't ignore this anymore. In other words,
19人目がいないなら、
if there's no 19th person,
親父たちを殺した犯人も18人の中にいるってことになっちまうじゃないですか。
then the culprit who killed Dad and the others is also one of the 18, right?
つまり、今この屋敷にいる誰かが殺したってことになる。
So, in other words, the person who killed them is one of the people inside this very mansion right now. Alright, let's rattle the suspects. 1, 2, in order. This is a very quick and unofficial ranking of potential suspects. 1, 2, 3. Fuck it. 4, 5. Actually, change that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't know. Stick him somewhere earlier. Hold me to those. hold me to those bets. Dots. Aunt Ava smiled meaningfully. It looked like she thought this conclusion should have been obvious from the very beginning.
犯人は倉庫の中に6人の遺体を運び込んだわ。
The culprit carried the bodies of those 6 into the storehouse.
でも、よく倉庫の中に運び込めたわよね。
But even that was an impressive feat, don't you think?
あのシャッターは常に閉められていて、施錠されていたそうよ。
That shutter is always closed and locked, right?
つまり、倉庫内に運び込むにはシャッターの施錠を開ける必要があった。
In other words, in order to carry them into the storehouse, the culprit would need to unlock the shutter.
わかる？
Understand?
たまたまその日シャッターが開けっぱなしになってた可能性は？
Is it possible the shutter was left open by mistake that day?
使用人たちは常に閉めていると言ってたわ。
The servant said it's always kept locked.
つまり、鍵を使用人室から持ち出さなくては倉庫は絶対に開けられない。
In other words, unless the culprit took the keys from the servant room, there's no way they could have opened the storehouse.
鍵は使用人室の一つしかないんすかね？
I wonder if the key in the servant room was the only one.
源氏さんはそうだと言ってるわ。
Genji-san said that was the case.
ということは、犯人はそのたった一つの倉庫の鍵のありかを知っていて持ち出した。
Which means the culprit knew where that single key was kept and took it.
さっき、カノン君が使用人室に鍵を戻すところを見たわ。
Just now, I watched when Kanon-kun returned the key to the servant room.
壁にびっしりと鍵がかけられていて、とても素人にはどこに何がかけてあるのかわからなかった。
The wall was packed with keys, and I don't think a novice would know where or what those keys went to.
犯人はその中から倉庫の鍵を見事選び出したの。
The culprit was miraculously able to find the storehouse key among all of those.
しかも札も何もついていない鍵を手にしてバラ庭園裏にある倉庫の鍵だと理解した。
Furthermore, even though the key didn't have a tag or anything sticking to it, they knew it was the key to the storehouse behind the rose garden.
ついでに言うと倉庫の場所すら理解していた。
And that means they also knew where the storehouse was.
もっとはっきり断言するわ。
I'll say it even clearer.
犯人は使用人室の内部にも熟知している。
The culprit knew the inside of the servant room well. Her argument was extremely plain and clear. If the bodies had been found thrown somewhere in the bushes of the rose garden, there wouldn't have been much to go on. However, if there was only one key to the storehouse in the servant room, and it was stored with such a large group of keys, a novice would not be able to tell them apart. This meant the culprit was someone who went into the servant room a lot and was familiar with the locations of the keys. The family members didn't normally go into the servant room, which meant that
ってことは
which means that
使用人の誰かが
one of the servants is
犯人。
the culprit?
悪いけどそれ以上はおばさんも言えないわよ。
I'm sorry, but even I can't tell you any more than that.
でも一つだけ教えられることがあるわ。
However, I'll tell you one thing.
なんすか？
What's that?
犯人たちは複数で、そして十分な武装をしていたと考えられる。
It's reasonable to think that the culprits are multiple in number and fairly well armed. Now, what kind of claim is this? What is Eva claiming?
だってそうでしょ。
They'd have to be, wouldn't they?
食堂にいた兄さんたち4人を一度に襲って殺し、合計6人分の遺体をようようとバラ庭園の向こうの倉庫まで運んで悪趣味な化粧と落書きを施している。
They had to assault the 4 in the dining hall and kill them, drag a total of 6 bodies all the way to the storehouse beyond the rose garden, and arrange for that disgusting makeup and the graffiti on the shutter.
これだけのことを単独犯で行えるはずもないでしょう。
There's no way that a single culprit could carry out all that on their own, right? It made sense. Probably would have been possible for a single person with enough time, but it would take so incredibly long. It was probably safe to assume that a significant number of people were involved.
Phew.
Alright, so it was just a murder pact. Whew.
ってことはエヴァおばさんは
So what you're saying
使用人の人たちがみんなグルだろって言ってんすか
is that maybe all the servants were in cahoots?
静かになさいな。
Please keep it quiet, okay?
憶測で言っちゃ悪いわよ。
It wouldn't be right to voice mere speculation like this.
それにもし本当にそうだったらどうするつもり？
And if it really is true, what would you do next?
彼らは私たちを生かして返さないでしょうね。
They might not let us leave here alive.
しかも兄さんたち4人をやすやすと殺した相手なのよ。
This is an opponent who had no trouble killing Nissan and the three others.
今この部屋に残っていてまともに戦えそうな人間はうちの家族の3人にせいぜいバトラ君で4人ってところ。
Right now, the only ones I can count on to fight with me are the three in my family and maybe you, which comes to a total of 4 people, right?
状況は昨晩と何も変わらない。
We're no better off than they were last night.
つまり犯人にとって残る私たちを皆殺しにするなんて簡単なことなのよ。
In short, it'd be easy for the culprits to massacre the rest of us. I've been playing detective with Aunt Eva, trying to expose the person who had killed Dad and the rest before the police did. If only I could cleverly penetrate the culprit's identity and stick the proof in their face. I've been so sure that, just like in one of those detective movies, the culprit would then give up and surrender. Just the old Scooby-Doo. However, the culprit would only surrender if there was no way for them to fight back. Culprits behind the crime on this island were far from helpless, and might even be able to massacre all the remaining people here. And on top of that, this island was like a giant closed room, cut off from the outside world by the typhoon. So they had a full day, until tomorrow, to kill, scheme, and camouflage themselves. In short, it wasn't a safe atmosphere where we could get very far by playing detective. To the contrary, we were at a stage where we had to be scared stiff, since playing detective might displease the culprits and cause them to commit another mass murder.
あくまでも可能性の問題よ。
Well, it is just a possibility, right?
でも私は使用人の人たちをまだ信用できないのね。
But I can't bring myself to trust the servants yet.
それに私は使用人だけを疑ってるわけじゃないの。
And that doesn't mean I only suspect them.
さらに黒幕がいるかもしれないと思ってるわよ。
Don't you think there might be some mastermind behind all this?
黒幕
Mastermind?
どうしてですか
Why do you say that?
勘よ。
It's just a feeling.
使用人は書いて字のごとし。
Think about what the word servant literally means.
誰かに使用されて手足となる存在よ。
It means someone who serves as someone else's arms and legs, right?
殺されたのは後宮家の親族ばか
It was a bunch of Yushiromiya family members who got killed.
り。ならその結果で利害が発生する人間が関わるのは当然。
So naturally, there must be someone involved who stands to gain from that result. This is also plain and clear. The Yushiromiya family had been right in the middle of discussions about how to distribute the inheritance when grandfather died. In this case, followed the standard form of any classic mystery novel. If this case followed the standard form of any classic mystery novel, the crime was definitely caused by someone with ties to the Yushiromiya family and who was involved in the inheritance problem. Aunt Eva had probably read a few books in that genre herself. Her argument may have had a few blind assumptions in it, but it was a standard conclusion that anyone might have reached. I think most people would end up suspecting the servants, even if they used different reasoning to get there. Especially the story about the key to the shutter. That made it very easy to suspect that one of the servants was involved. And that's why...
だから
Really jumped the gun there. And that's why
なぜか気に入らねえんすよね。
I don't like it.
気に入らないって
What do you
何
mean?
の話
Shit. Now I'm just doing it a bunch. What do you mean you don't like it?
あ、いやいや、こっちの話っす。
No, just talking to myself. I tried to dodge her question by joking, but I couldn't erase the sense of unease welling up inside me. After all, her conclusion was such an easy one to reach. A conclusion that anyone could reach. And I just couldn't be satisfied with that. It's too simple an answer. If I tried spinning the chessboard around like I'd learned from Kairi-san, this was exactly why a servant couldn't possibly be the culprit. Okay, explain. If the servants really were the culprits, they wouldn't hide the bodies in a place connected to themselves. Why on earth would they use the rose garden shed if they were the ones in charge of the key that could unlock it? Police would probably immediately pursue whoever had been in control of the key. It was even possible that some other facts might come to light as a result. The more we think of the servants as the culprits, the less reason they had to carry the bodies into the storehouse. But what if they knew we'd think that and put the corpses in the storehouse for that very reason? Ah, the old reverse psychology. When does it end? No, that's completely impossible. When the police come and inspect the scene of the crime, they'll probably be able to uncover many things. No matter how carefully the culprits carried out that murder, some traces will definitely be found. In other words, they had everything to lose and nothing to gain. If you think about it this way and look at this murder game from the culprit side, it's hard to imagine why they'd want to call attention to the corpses. Once the corpses were found, it could result in someone sending a report to the police, or it might make the remaining people more cautious, or it might make the survivors start to search for the culprit. None of these things would make life any easier for the culprit. It's just like the words of the main character's mother in a novel I read recently, called Hiroshi no Naku Koro ni. I'm sure I said that correctly. Every story needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Eliminating that beginning is essential for the perfect crime. Right now, we don't know where Grandfather is. We don't know if he's already become a victim or if he's one of the culprits. But this state of confusion must be beneficial to the killer. It's a sound effect every time in my head every time this symbol comes up. Culprit has absolutely nothing to gain by showing us the bodies in such a obvious way and making us all realize there's been a murder. I definitely have like that slightly tired brain after a long week of work. Where I'm just like brain running on fumes. In fact, this is the perfect place to spin the chessboard around. In other words, showing us the corpses in such a flashy way must be the culprit's goal in and of itself. Thunder noise. So, at the very least, to the culprit, the appearance of 6 corpses there meant more than the deaths themselves. Bolded text. In other words, the culprit wanted this murder on display. To whom? To us? This is a message. Culprit's trying to shove something in our faces. I don't know what it is. At this point in time, this vulgar mass murder isn't making me feel anything except a malice directed towards all of us. Malice towards all of us. Is it? Each one of the survivors has some kind of connection to one of the 6 victims. Uncle Krause's death brought Jessica the grief of losing a family member. The deaths of Dad and Kairi-san brought me sorrow, while Aunt Rosa's death brought Maria sorrow. Bet? Excuse me, Battler? You want to revise that statement? Hello? Hello, Battler? Did Maria seem upset? Badler? I'm incredulous right now. Well, Aunt Rosa's death brought Maria sorrow. Maria didn't give a fuck. Goda-san's death probably shocked his fellow servants, and Shannon-chan's death brought grief both to Jorishiniki, who had proposed to her, and Kanen-kun, who had loved her like an older sister. Everyone now on this island has received an equal amount of sadness. False statement. Aunt Eva was sure that the servants were in cahoots. But then, how could you explain the deaths of Goda-san and Shannon-chan? At any rate, by this argument, the grief caused by the 6 deaths hit everyone but Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi. Bolded text. Even Aunt Eva, who had directed suspicion at the servants and acted as though she herself was beyond suspicion, could not be ruled out as a suspect. In the first place, she was able to argue that the servants were suspicious by focusing on the shutter's key. But if you look at it from a perspective of motive and who would gain, Aunt Eva's name rises to the top of the list. Well, duh. Oh, I had to press it again.
バトラ君が何を考えてるか、おばさんわかるわよ。
I know what you're thinking, Badler-kun.
What?
Huh?
嫌だな。
No.
内緒にしててくださいよ。
Please don't tell anybody
あんなことやこんなことで頭をいっぱいにしてたなんて。
about how my head's so full of obscene stuff. The old divert attention away from one thing into my horny brain diversion tactic.
私がこの殺人で一番得をする。
I'm the one who's going to gain the most from these murders.
どうせ疑われるだろうから、先に自己申告しておくわ。
Since I'm going to be suspected anyway, I might as well get it out in the open. I tried to dodge the issue by joking around, but apparently it didn't work.
遺産は兄弟の数で分割する。
I'm sorry, Battler, but it was a pathetic attempt. The inheritance will be divided into as many parts as there are siblings.
でも今や4兄弟は私一人。
But right now, I'm the only one of the 4 left.
後ろ宮家の全財産は全て私のものになるの。
All of the assets of the Ishiromiya family will become mine.
秀吉おじさんが聞いたら、予算か言えばシャレにならんっていうところっすね。
If Uncle Hideyoshi heard you, he'd say, "Could you give it a rest? It's not funny."
ごめんね。
I'm sorry.
どう取り繕ったってどうせ疑われるだろうからふざけただけよ。
I was just fooling around since I'm going to be suspected anyway, no matter how much I try to smooth it over.
だからこの殺人は私の立場から見れば私を疑わせるためのものではないかと思ってるの。
That's why, from my point of view, this murder might have been designed to cast suspicion on me.
困ったことに昨べのアリバイは弱いわ。
Unfortunately, my alibi for last night is weak.
聞かせてもらってもいいっすか？
Could you tell me a bit more
昨べのことを。
about last night?
バトラ君たちも知っている通り、兄弟が遺産をどう食いちぎり合うかという話し合いは深夜まで続いたわ。
As you know, the discussion between the siblings of how to slice up and eat the inheritance continued until late at the night.
でも何時まで続いたかは知らない。
But I don't know how late it lasted.
私と主人は朝が早かったからね。
My husband and I had woken up early that morning.
もう眠くて24時を過ぎたあたりで抜けさせてもらったの。
We were so sleepy, and a little past midnight they let us go.
そしてゲストハウスに戻って休んだわ。
We then returned to the guest house and rested there.
それを 秀吉おじさん以外の誰かに証明できるっすか？
Can anyone other than Uncle Hideyoshi prove that?
いやいや、別にエヴァおばさんを疑ってるわけじゃないっすよ。
No, wait, it's not like I suspect you or anything, okay? You believe me, right?
あら、どうだか。
Oh, are you sure about that? Giggle.
証明になるかわからないけれど、ゲストハウスに戻ってきた時、源氏さんに出迎えを受けてタオルはいるかと聞かれたわ。
I don't know if it counts as proof, but when we returned to the guest house, we were greeted by Genji-san, who asked if we needed a towel.
だから私たちがゲストハウスに戻ってきた時間は24時過ぎだと証明してくれると思うわよ。
I think that should be enough to prove we returned to the guest house a little after midnight.
もっとも私の仮説通り使用人たちもグルなのだとしたらこんなのアリバイにならないけどね。
Though, if my theory was correct, the servants would all be in cahoots, and that wouldn't actually make for much of an alibi.
確かにそうっすね。
Hey, you got a point there.
ってことは、俺、今、真犯人と推理ごっこをしてるってことになるんすか？
Guess that means I'm playing detective with the real culprit right now, right? Or, huh? Hehehe.
でも私の名誉のために言わせてもらうけど、遺産目当てだ
Messing
った
up on a
な
bunch of
ら
words.
こんな変な殺人はしないわよ。
However, let me say this for my honor's sake. If I was after the inheritance, I'd never commit such a bizarre set of murders.
だって遺産相続権を喪失させるだけならどんな死に方だって構わない。
After all, if I just wanted to make them forfeit the rights to the inheritance, it wouldn't matter to me how they died.
むしろ事故死に見せかけた方がスマートでしょ。
It'd be much smarter of me to try and make their deaths look like accidents.
使用人たちを抱き込んで周到に計画していたならなおさらそうするでしょうよ。
Especially if you're assuming I laid out some careful plan that involved even the servants.
確かに、そうっすね。
You've got a point there.
営利で人を殺すなら、それは常に殺人に見せるべきではない。
If you're killing someone for personal gain, you definitely shouldn't make it look like a murder.
そういうことよ。
Exactly.
だからおばさんは今からとてもブルーな気持ちなわけ。
That's why I'm in such a blue mood.
警察には黒幕扱いされて散々調べられるでしょうね。
The police will probably treat me like the mastermind and investigate all kinds of things.
やだやだ。
Not fun at all. Aunt Eva shrugged with a bitter smile. It was just as easy to suspect Aunt Eva as it was to suspect the servants. So if we spin the chessboard around, that phrase that Kyrie always says, does that make it impossible for the culprit to be her, suspicious as she is? However, if that sort of argument always works, then motive can never help us in any way. No, that can't be right. Knowing the motive must give us powerful clues towards knowing the culprit. That's why murders from all time periods disguise crimes in complicated ways, cleverly preventing their motives from being discovered. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Every time I spin the chessboard around, it keeps flipping from front to back and back to front. Are my thoughts bringing me closer to the truth? Or are they... Aunt Eva didn't want to talk any more than that, so I folded my arms and headed to the window to cool my head a little. As I looked over the parlor, I saw George and Iki and the others gathered, talking. It looked like they were talking about the magic circle that had been painted onto the shutter. The spellbinding circle. I already made that joke reference once. I can't do it again. As Uncle Hideyoshi thought back to that time, he started drawing the shape in the margins of Maria's notebook. I see, since Maria was second only to grandfather in knowledge of the occult, she might understand what it meant.
多分こんな感じだったと思うで。
I think it was probably something like that.
十字架をアレンジしたみたいなマークが書かれとったんや。
There was a mark that looked like a variation of a cross.
そしてこんな感じで外周の円を取り囲むように妙な文字がびっしり書き込まれていて、十字架の上下左右の辺とその四隅にも 何か書かれていたんや。
And then, surrounding the circle all around the perimeter, were these closely packed strange letters on all four sides of the cross. And in the four corners, there was something written.
アルファベットとかそういうのとちゃうで。
It didn't look like the alphabet or something like that.
あれはよく言う古代文字とかいうやつや。
It was what they call ancient characters. Ah, a ancient man.
あと編集部の頂点に小さなマークがありましたな。
My brain is just so broken. It's running just it's puttering. And around the top of the circumference there was a small mark.
小さな丸を5つ十字状に並べ、それぞれを直線で結んだようなマークでした。
5 small circles arranged in a plus sign and straight lines connecting them.
ああ、確かにそんなのも書いてあったで。
Ah, yeah. There definitely was something like that drawn there.
うん。図形的には間違いなくこれや。
Yep, there's no mistake in the shape.
細かい文字はわからんが、配列はほぼ同じや。
I don't understand the thin characters, but the arrangement was nearly the same. Everyone was staring down at the shape, so I stared down at it too. From what I'd heard, this had been painted on the shutter to the storehouse with some material that looked like blood. I see. It sure is unsettling.
こんなわけのわかんねえもんを書きたがるのはじいさまだけだろ。
Grandfather's probably the only one who'd want to draw something this weird.
まったくどこに行っちまったんだ。
Seriously, where did he go?
とっ捕まえて意味を聞き出してやりたいぜ。
I want to grab him and ask what the hell this is supposed to mean. Jessica's voice contained impatience and anger. She hadn't gone so far as to say grandfather was a culprit, but she seemed that grandfather knew something about the culprit's background. Of course, if you were searching for a link connecting the Yoshiromiya family to the occult, 10 out of 10 people would think of grandfather. Also, to a person who knew nothing of the occult, the strange mark would have no meaning, which meant that this might have been something addressed to grandfather. That's right. The reason the crime was shown to the survivors was so they would find this. In that case, where had grandfather, the essential recipient of this message, disappeared off to?
こんな図形に何か心当たりはあるかい？
Does this shape ring any bells? Ooh. Maria looked at the shape with a serious face. Maybe she was enthusiastic because this was her area of expertise. However, her appearance was that of someone separated from the events at hand, as though this thing hadn't even drawn on the shutter closed around her mother's corpse.
僕の第一印象では
She does not
ど
give
こ
a
か
single
外国の
fuck.
十字章に似たデザインだなって思ったかな。
My first impression was that the design resembled a German cross.
あ
Ah,
あ、確かにこんなデザインや。
certainly does have that kind of design.
ということはそのどこぞの国と何か関係があるんか？
Does that mean it has something to do with Germany?
その国の十字章はもともと聖地巡礼者を守るための騎士修道士たちの紋章だったそうですな。
The German cross was originally a crest from a religious order of knights, and was supposed to protect pilgrims traveling to sacred places.
つまりこの魔法陣には宗教的な意味があるってことかよ。
So, in other words, this magic circle might have some religious meaning?
ますますにちんぷんかんぷんだぜ。
This is starting to sound like gibberish. When I looked over at all of them, preparing to jump into the discussion, something shocked me. Whoa! The fuck? Why? Why? Fucking jump scare. Why? Why was that? Why is it like this? I'm over here staving off tired eyes, trying to make sure I'm not slipping up every other word, and all of a sudden you just have the biggest eyes and biggest face, just fucking, just the biggest head just staring back at you. Jesus. It could be like the art mod that I have, maybe. Maybe this was the original PS3 scene. Just... Like, this is a thing of nightmares. I can't get over this. Maria was smiling, an eerie and incomprehensible expression on her face. God, it's so scary! It was almost as if she was making fun of everyone's ignorance. Jesus. I'm so disturbed right now. It was an expression I wouldn't have dreamed to find on Maria's face. Ah! Ah! I'm actually scared right now. Close the game. Close the game. Get out of here. Get out. Back up. No, she's back. She's back. And more than anything else, they need a large sum of money. No, she laughed. That eerie, jarring laugh. The fuck is happening? Was something I didn't want to believe was possible. All right, we gotta revise. Revise. Suspect number 1. Suspect number 2. Fuck it. Suspect number 3. That eerie, jarring laugh was something I didn't want to believe was possible, even though I was looking at it right in front of my eyes. Holy fucking shit. It is too late for me to have to deal with this. I'm just so thrown off. My energy has just been like off bound. I've just been knocked off balance. I can't proceed. I don't even know how to read this. You people aren't even close. Can't you tell just by looking? While everyone was busy being scared out of their wits, understandably, Maria kept on cackling happily by herself. Honestly, burn her with fire. I don't even know. Just if she turned around and was making this face, you remove. Wait, did I read that? Oh yeah, I did. Okay. After a while, that laugh was suddenly and abruptly cut off. But her expression still looked like it belonged to someone completely different from Maria. No, we can't just switch back to normal. That is not acceptable. I am not having a moment of this. we can't do this. Oh God. All right, here we go. This is the 7th magic circle of the sun. The characters are written in Hebrew. Give it here. Sure. Maria stole the writing materials from the stunned Hideyoshi's hand. She then started drawing another magic circle with a rustle, right next to the one Hideyoshi had drawn. See? It looked sort of like this, right? Yes. It was.
マリアすごいな。
Maria, incredible.
さすが詳しいぜ。
You really do know a lot. Jessica tried to smooth things over by praising Maria. Maybe she wanted to confirm that this was still the Maria we all knew so well. But Maria didn't answer her in any way in particular. Don't bring the weird face back up again. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. Maria began swiftly writing unfamiliar characters in the corners of the shape. When Uncle Hideyoshi and Dr. Nanjo saw them, their eyes immediately began to open wide.
天地と左右に書かれているのは風化水道を司る天使たちの名。
Written on the top and bottom and left and right are the names of the angels who preside over wind, fire, earth, and water.
カサン、アレル、フォルラク、そしてタリアハド。
Chason, Ariel, Forlock, and Taliahad.
そして斜め四方には4
I
代
tried.
の王たちの名。
And in the four corners are the names of the four great kings.
アリエル、セラフ、タルシス、ケルブ。
Ariel, Seraph, Tharsius, Tharshius, and Cherub.
合ってる？
Is that what you saw? Even if they hadn't been able to correctly write what they'd seen, when they were once again shown something identical, it wasn't difficult for them to realize the two were the same. When Maria asked them whether it matched, Uncle Hideyoshi and Dr. Nanjo nodded over and over again.
間違いない。そうや。確かにこんな文字が書かれとった。
There's no mistake, that's it. I'm sure there were characters that looked like that.
なんでこんなん書けるんや。
How were you able to write something like that?
あと演習部にも文字が書かれておりました。
There were also characters written around the circumference.
わかってるよ。
I know.
こうでしょ。
Like this, right? Maria quickly began to surround the circumference with more Hebrew writing.
旧約聖書の詩編第116編の16節と17節だよ。
It's from Psalms of the Old Testament, the 16th and 17th verses of the 116th Psalm.
聖書くらい読んでなきゃ。
You must have at least read the Bible, right? Me, not a Bible man. Me, curious, not Bible man. Acting as though knowing this was only common sense, Maria laughed. For a while, everyone, including me, was at a loss for words. A little later, George and Iki returned to his senses and slowly managed to speak.
すごいね。驚いたよ。
That's incredible. I'm surprised.
それでこの魔法陣にはどんな意味があるんだい？
So, what meaning does this magic circle have?
太陽の力を借りる魔法陣だよ。
It's a magic circle to borrow the power of the sun.
黄金で描き、護符にして身につけたる者はいかなる牢獄であろうとも、束縛から逃れ、自由を得られる力を授けられる。
Ooh. No, I'm joking. He who wears it as a talisman drawn in gold shall be able to break free from the bonds of any prison and receive the power to gain freedom.
束縛から逃れ、
To break free from bonds
自由を得られる。
and gain freedom?
意味深だぜ。
It sounds deep.
この束縛という意味は何も肉体的なものだけを指さないと解釈されている。
The word bonds is not limited in its interpretation to some kind of physical object.
だから縛られて牢屋にいる人ばかりに意味があるわけじゃないよ。
Therefore, does not only hold meaning for people locked up in an actual jail.
しがらみや逃れぬ運命など精神的な束縛からの解放も意味してるんだよ。
It can also refer to the release from mental bonds such as ties of obligation and inescapable fate.
しがらみや
Ties of obligation and
逃れ得ぬ運命。
inescapable fate, you say?
これまた意味深だな。
That's also pretty deep.
しかしさっぱりわからん。
But I really don't understand.
それとあの6人の遺体とどんな関係があるっちゅうんや。
What does this have to do with those 6 bodies?
束縛からの解放どころか殺された上に倉庫に閉じ込められてたんやで。
Far from being released, they were killed and stuffed in a storehouse, weren't they?
別にその6人のために魔法陣が描かれてるわけじゃないね。
It's not like the magic circle was drawn for their sakes.
魔法陣のために6人はそこにいるんでしょう。
The 6 of them were there for the sake of the magic circle.
お気の毒だよ。
It is truly pitiable. Laughs.
どういう意味だい？
What do you mean?
魔法陣のために6人がいるってのは一体。
What in the world do you mean when you say the 6 of them were there for the sake of the magic circle? Maria lifted up her pointer finger and waggled it as if she were making fun of us.
それは演習部に書いてるよ。
That's written around the circumference.
読めないかな。
Can't you read it?
詩編第116編16節と17節。
Psalms chapter 116 verses 16 and 17.
読んであげるよ。
I'll read it for you.
主は私の枷を解かれました。
The Lord has freed me from my chains.
私はあなたに感謝の生贄を捧げ、主の皆を呼ぶでしょう。
I will offer to you the sacrifice of thanksgiving and will call in the name of the Lord.
ね。
See?
ねって
Religion in my murder mystery game? I don't think so. See, you say?
何を言ってるのかさっぱりだぜ。
I've got no idea what you're talking about.
生贄だ
You're saying
ってのか。
they're human sacrifices? If what Maria had just read aloud was a vital part of the magic circle, then it was saying that sacrifices had to be offered in order for this magic circle to be effective. So, human sacrifices had been offered inside the storehouse, where the magic circle had been drawn. A heartbeat later, everyone else seemed to reach the same conclusion. That Maria was fucking weird. And also, some people were shocked, and others sped out that this was insane as they punched their knees. This was starting to get incredibly disturbing, and we couldn't accept it or understand it. I don't care what kind of magic circles or curses other people believe in, I won't pick a fight with them. But did they really kill Dad and the rest as sacrifices for crap like that? I just couldn't stand that feeling. Compared to this, I preferred it when we were still disgusted by that theory about the fight over the inheritance. As I started getting pissed off with a feeling between anger and sadness, I broke from the circle everyone was in and returned, once again, to the window. Something had gone insane since yesterday. There was that letter from the witch, Beatrice, that Maria had read aloud at last night's dinner. Ever since that point, it feels like like this whole mansion, this whole island has been getting more and more firmly locked inside some kind of bizarre world. That's right. When I think back on it, that letter was an invitation from the witch. The ruler of the nighttime island had invited us inhabitants of the day into another world. The phone and the radio had been interrupted and the island was shut off by the typhoon. So you really could call this place another world cut off from the real one by now. Yeah. As this island is now, it's perfectly normal for a witch to send us letters for human sacrifices to be offered up for the sake of magic circles. So what will happen next? Will some weird people wearing... What will happen next? Will some weird people wearing goat masks start doing the Bon Festival dance or something? The Bon Festival? Bon Carnival? I don't know French. It's hopeless. It's hopeless. I don't get it. The inside of my head's all screwed up and I don't even know what to think. Anger? Sadness? The opposing emotions all swirled up together, and they started to suck me in. Unable to resist, I could do nothing but cover my eyes with my hands and trust in my mind and body as I started getting sucked in. Alright, I think maybe this is a good stopping point then. I was thinking maybe, possibly, it would do like the glass shattering thing. But no, I don't get that. But also, as always, want to end there. I think we've officially have entered Crazy Train section of the story. where I would only bet that it's never going to slow down, hopefully, at this point, and we're just going to continue to just go a million miles per hour, and it'll just be a wild ride. But this one was fun. This was a good stretch of this game, of this story. I was really thrown off by that Maria thing. That was weird. that was out of left field. I won't be able to do a day stream tomorrow, as I had, I think, for the last 2 weeks on Saturdays. I've got things happening on my Saturday tomorrow, so if I'm able to stream, it'll be night. Though I have no idea what I would do, or if I'll even be able to make that. Just kind of have to see. So, no day can barely speak. No day stream tomorrow. Maybe a night stream. Sunday, hopefully, I'll definitely have time. Hopefully, I think. As always, thanks for watching, whether live or archived. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great rest of your Friday night. I should save before I actually forget. Now that I had that debacle with the finale of Valkyria Chronicles a while back, now I'm like really paranoid. I need to save before I end the stream and just forget. Yep. Have a great rest of your Friday night. Have a great weekend. You made it to the weekend. Enjoy it. Savor it. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. If not, though, I'll be back Sunday with something. I would like to play a little bit more of this sometime this weekend. It might be Sunday, though. It might be other things. If I can stream tomorrow, it might be other things than this. But we'll see. But until next time.